Hello everyone, and welcome on back to Smite Prime, where the plays are always just so premium. It's D'Lo and Musi behind the mic. We got Mort, Almighty Eye in the Sky, Jithens, and Billy, those men behind the curtain. Musi, it's going to be back here for week 3 of the July circuit. How we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I'm really excited to jump into week 3 of Smite Prime, especially give it the chance. I mean, I was there for week 1, week 2. I'm excited to see how things progress in week 3. Hey, I get around a little bit. I've been around for a hot minute, but I'm especially excited to see, some of the newer teams that have been popping up, some familiar faces subbing in for some other teams. I mean, it is really exciting. It's really cool. But obviously we got to talk about what all the players are even competing for in the first place.
Great question there, Musi. It's an awfully large prize pool, that's what, and we got more where that came from. $7,000 in crash prize to be doling on out. Alongside those diamonds, you see that Vulcan pass, you say, man, that looks expensive. Well, we can assuage those ails of your wallet just a little bit if you end up reaching the pinnacle and peak of Smite Prime glory. So plenty of stakes to be fighting for, and with this being the last week to get into that closed bracket, it's only even more tense, Musi.
It's going to take a lot of high-octane Smite 2 gameplay to be able to confirm your spot, and you got to take a look and see who you're going to be playing up against. That's going to be found over there in the bracket. So we get a chance to see what all teams we have going on here today.
We got our usual offenders here. Our friends on Clocked In get a bit of a bye since they did play gosh darn well prior. In fact, reigning top in the Supreme when it comes to the points. The team that we're going to be taking a look at first, if I'm not mistaken, are Baile Inolvidable and Yummers stepping up there. You can see seeds 3 and 14. Now, they rest in a very interesting position here. The fact that Baile Inolvidable really are kind of cruising at that near top seed, whereas Yummers, if they want a chance to contend and keep on going with their Smite Prime bracket, they've got to reach that very end.
And, Yummers is one of those new teams that I was talking about where we have some returning faces. I mean, this is a stacked squad. Baile's going to have a pretty tough time going against them. It's got Soloer Troll, you got Awesome Jake, Haddix is back in the solo lane, Daniel in mid, and Glavius over in that jungle. So a lot of big names from Smite 2, from Smite, all powering together into this Yummers squad. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure.
Absolutely, and an interesting meta that we stand in. Sun Wukong is allowed, so we have the Monkey King gracing the field. You don't quite have to worry yet about the Yanis actions, so at the very least we can be spared from that. And the new patch hasn't come down just yet, so we still have your anti-heal items abound. Now, Musi, knowing what we know as we get ready for these P's and B's, what is the meta? What is the landscape that we should be expecting and looking for?
So it is a lot of what we're used to seeing. I feel like I've been saying that pretty consistently. The big shakeup is off in the horizon with that healing patch on the way. So we take a look at those picks and bans to see what people are actually going to be opting for. And like I was saying before, you're going to expect to see things like the Aladdin ban, the Bari ban. Humbats is still incredibly strong. You also have things like Ganesha that likes to pop up every now and then. Neith is still considered one of the best mid laners of all time. Banworthy, I don't know, but definitely something worth picking if that is your cup of tea. And then you also have some more target bans that you can take away from people. Think of things like an Ares that we just saw get bopped away there. Susanoo is definitely worth taking off the table if you think that either, Jisoo, Glavius is going to whip that out. So it's a lot to take off the board, but it's what we're used to seeing for the most part.
At the very least, you have 3 bans on each side, so you got a bit more room in terms of what you want to strike off the map. Been a while since I've been on the top of the Smite Prime, so I've been watching you, of course, get your time in the limelight, but it's good to see some extra pro play go down, and I'm curious to see how that all translates in terms of what we're going to get from these compositions. But like you said, a lot is to be expected in terms of some pretty high priority jungle picks. I feel like the Hoonbots has been evergreen, but has kind of fallen a bit behind in terms of being that top ban threat where we saw them in their heyday. Thor's going to be taken off the map as well alongside that Kali. Yemoja being banned away by Yummers. Awesome Jake, I know, is a proponent of the Yemoja, so interesting to see them take it away from the enemy themselves.
I mean, Wrong You is also really solid with the Yemoja too, so real sees real, real respects real, real knows real, and they go, hey, I don't want to do it. That's not my cup of tea. This also does kind of open up some opportunities for, Baron Samedi to come through either in that mid lane where he's had a bit of success, especially there with the aspect he's able to stack on a lot of damage, or if you want to run him like full damage in the solo lane, that's not too shabby either. You can have him in that support role as well, as long as you make sure that you don't have to run into that Sobek. You should be pretty much chilling. But seeing Bale's bans so far, I mean, Guan, Thor, Ares, it's a lot of CC, it's a lot of sustain taken off the table. It makes me kind of wonder if they're going to be looking for characters with a lot of mobility now that they don't have to worry about any of those cripples or lockdowns that those characters would have brought.
And it's a lot of taking away from the front lines as well, of course, Thor with that aspect. You see him oftentimes being run in the solo lane, sometimes jungle, and speaking of, Aladdin is going to be taken off the map. And it's interesting to see that pressure be given to some of those characters that really initiate the action, whereas the backliners have kind of gotten a bit of a breather, those Nice that you think about. So the question is, does that get to be the first pick? We'll find out shortly. Baile Inolvidable up to bat, and they're taking Princess Bari for their first home run.
I feel like it's always going to happen at least once a week, right? People are going to go, Bari, she's not that great. She's not that good. We can let her through. It's no big deal. And then the other team goes, yeah, we'll first pick Bari. No worries. I'll have this. Like, it's all good. So she brings so much damage to the team. She's got that life-saving ultimate as well. Crazy pressure in lane because she could just constantly spam out abilities. That gets her priority as well because, again, just clearing waves, clearing camps. She's like a ticking time bomb. The closer you get to that 22-minute mark where she gets all her items online, the closer you are to just kind of losing to a Bari that runs through your whole team. Definitely agree. I'm a big proponent of everything you're saying right now. All right. So Hunbats, Artemis,
we're back.
Ullr. Oh, we're back. All right.
Don't worry. Hunbots, Artemis, big team fight ultimates.
Yeah.
Ullr, single target damage, he kills you. Go.
Well done. Took the words right out of
Thanks.
my mouth. I mean, you're 100% right. Yummers already have great initiation here and great fallback. So if Bale decides to try to jump on top of them, they've got the Caledonian Boar. And if Yummers wants to jump on top of Bale, they've got that Fear No Evil. So very flexible team comp right out the rip. They just need some frontline tanks to either help aid that initiation. Maybe we try to look for a more divey composition, or you just have a big tank, somebody that can live throughout some non-committal CC. So you can run more like a front to back composition. So you have somebody up there with your Hunbots. I would assume somebody like a Mordred would be a really good spot here because not only could they be that diver, they can also just stand up there and live with the Hunbots. So gives even more flexibility to the Yummers composition.
In terms of being able to live for a bit longer, the Aphrodite is certainly going to be very useful on the side of Baile Inolvidable to ensure that you're immuning some of that big CC ultimate pressure we have from Yummers. In fact, they're adding even more on tap. Agni likely going to be running to the mid since we already have our carry in the form of Artemis and Cerberus. I'm seeing massive circles, massive beads burners on their side.
I mean, Talisman of Purification is going to be a necessary pickup for Bale, but they also have that Undying Love from Aphrodite. Whoever she chooses to stick to won't have to stress out as much as everybody else on the team. It feels like Bale have very much like a pick comp. You set something up with an Aphrodite Kiss or an Ullr Axe, and then everybody else just kind of loads in the damage on top. This Ganesha is here to offer some support in the way of Hunbots tries to jump in, anybody tries to walk up, you have the Ohm, and that just continuously enables you to be able to look at that person and just pick them off the board. When it comes to 5v5 team fights, Yummers already, without seeing their fifth pick, is going to have a much stronger 5v5. Bale is going to have to try to find some forced isolation, just try to see if they can pick somebody out and then take them off the board and see if they can fight the man advantage fight afterwards.
A good way to pick them out is with that Wind Siphon. You just pluck them out of the front lines, hit them with that axe. Like you said, a lot of on-demand CCs present, but definitely is not the kind that you're expecting to hit the entire team as you would expect from Yummers. Merlin not going to be necessarily providing all of that CC you might expect, but nonetheless is certainly going to get the damage done. So that does mean it's likely going to be an Agni running in the solo, if I'm not mistaken. Musi, what are your thoughts on Yummers' comp?
It's interesting, to say the least, and I kind of wish I was watching the Haddock stream yesterday to know what in the world he would be playing over in that solo lane. If I had to guess, though, Agni would do pretty well over there. Or you could run like Kerberos in the solo and like a kill lane in the dual lane. You could do something like Artemis Agni duo. Just a lot of
Huge.
stuns, a lot of setup, a lot of damage. It's going to be interesting to see how that lays out, but I am noticing that Yummers is going to be lacking that frontline tank that they're going to sorely need.
Well, we don't have to figure it out for too much longer since we can just hop right in the game and get the knowledge ourselves. It's Baile Inolvidable stepping up to Yummers in their first match today of Week 3 in the July circuit of Smite Prime. D-Lo Musi on the mic, Mort Almighty Eye in the sky. Now Musi, we get the Almighty answer to our question. It's indeed what you expected, which just proves why you're the C2. Awesome Jake is going to be rocking that Agni.
So not the kill lane that I was thinking about initially. No, because of that war flag, you got the gem. Awesome Jake is going to be doing this like a stun setup Agni, tank Agni, which is, I can take it. I've seen it in action. Previous patches, though, I haven't seen it too much in the recent landscape, but I can understand why it would be appealing and what it can bring to the table. The one thing that you really lack, though, is can an Agni stand up in front of everybody and soak damage? Not really. Not nearly as well as any of the other supports in the game. What he does do, though, is offer a lot of opportunities to just take people off the map. Instead of using your rain fire to look for damage, you're just using it to set up smoke, right? That's all you're doing. Awesome Jake is just looking for stuns. He's also looking to just go straight to that purple buff. This is classic Awesome Jake, by the way. He's just going to run at your camps. It might look like
I
it.
think he's running in a fountain soon enough. This is looking to be awfully dangerous, especially if Susanoo decides to make that rotation on over, already taking half of their health bar and poke. They decided to skip the purple buffs. Let's just get straight down to business, it seems. The Flame Dash is the first ability they opt for, which does give you a bit of easier lane clear to hit the entire wave.
Hey, look at him. Already back to full health. He's got that support starter item. So it fits Awesome Jake's playstyle of just looking for aggressive starts just to see if you can prod the water a little bit and find something up there.
Decent damage there being dropped on top of Rongyu so far, but they're going to be able to still stand strong. Awesome Jake making sure to try to keep present. Make sure the buff does go their way, but so far, no buff dropped. It's only going to be a bit of extra flight and filler before they take flight instead. So no purple buff, just a very untraditional start here from both supports and both duos.
And speaking of untraditional, this Aphrodite is actually going to be over there in the solo lane, laning against that Kerberos, which is going to be a little bit tough for Jarkor, just because Kerb shuts down a lot of the healing that she would do and offers a lot of damage as well. Uh-oh.
Oh no, Susanoo there. Use the beats preemptively just to ensure that no one can stop them from hewing down Solo or Troll lifeless to the ground. First blood goes over to the God of the Storm, and so it continues to blow over to this purple buff. A quick Sundering Arc ensures the steal. Might ensure a bit more zeal for a fight, though. Moonbots has made the rotation on over, but no stun bots means no CC. Means plenty of danger still for Awesome Jake. Forced to Ig is back to safety. A turn of fortune is not going to actually bring the death you might have hoped for. Instead, Rongyu is the one to go down. Glavis, though, not too much mana in pocket. Solo or Troll wants vengeance, won't be able to get it just yet. 1-for-1 overall.
Bali stayed a little bit too long, right? You get that purple buff, you take that away, but honestly could have let Awesome Jake go there. Just barely lacking the damage, but so much grouping happening in that dual lane right out the rip, even before that purple buff had a chance to spawn. And that does kind of show to me, at least, that both of these teams are very much focused on the macro play, the smaller parts of the macro, where we're focused on purple buff timers. We're focused on trying to steal away camps. These are the small building blocks of the snowball that you're trying to get running and online. If you can shut down this Yummers composition before it even has a chance to take off and do what it wants to do, that is set up, stun, isolate you, and really just harass you with a bunch of CC, then you can just kind of walk over everything. Bale has a crazy team when it comes to taking down objectives. I mean, you have this Bari, you have this Ganesh with those Dharmic pillars, and then you also have Uller over there in the mid lane. So you have a lot of characters with sustained damage that can be able to take away Gold Furies, but you just have to make sure that you have the time and space to do so. Best way to make that happen, like I said before, just start jumping on their heads right off the rip. Starve them of farm and try to stop them from hitting that level 5.
starving of those relics as well. Still 30 more seconds before that beads comes back up, and 40 more for the Aegis. So 4 minutes in, maybe we do see another gank come to the dual lane side, and it's rotated into a Gold Fury. It very well could be the way that Bile leveraged that pressure. Instead, we're leveraging on the opposite side of the map. The Typhoon sweeps up the puppy dog. Toto's not going to be getting back to Dorothy this time around. 2 kills in the pocket here, both for Susano.
I mean, what this Aphrodite can do is just enable this Susano. Because you have that Undying Love, Jisu's just able to go underneath that tower and wreak whatever havoc that he wants to do. You have the Undying Love, it just pulls him right back out to safety. Susano is such a mobile character. He only has to worry about maybe 1 or 2 tower shots at the end of the day if he decides to go underneath there. Plus, it completely invalidates Haddix's ultimate with that Kerberos. So, Jarkor has a tough time laning against this Kerberos by themselves, but if Jisoo makes that rotation over, they're gonna get a lot happening.
Wow. Great Fear No able to interrupt the dash, and the pillars are dropped, doing quite a bit of damage as well. Glavis is in trouble. Glavis is dead. Same with Rongyu. Jake will be the return. It's a double kill for the Bari. No mana left, but no problem. The damage has already been done. What an amazing reversal by the carry.
I mean, you have the Bari ult, and you had the Domric pillars on top of each other. Jisoo, though,
Beat Storm Kata, dashes back to safety. Baron area is there to provide a bit more security and safety. 5 minutes in, it's 4-2 reads the scoreboard. Finally, someone other than the junglers are getting a bit of the action, but Bile and Inolvidable do also boast about a 1,500 gold lead. The question is, again, do we leverage it into more? Honestly surprised to not see them now look for the Gold Fury, given that they have that pressure on the left side, but maybe Yummers, hearing me, are starting to mount their way over there as well.
you have to try to slow down Bales in this duel lane. Golden just got a lot of gold, a lot of kills already from that good start that they had at the start of the game. Looks like Jake wants to get active, but Rongyu's got the stun.
Wow, great work to prevent Solar Troll from re-engaging. The issue is Hunbots is present, Susano is not. Rongyu recognizes that and is going to try to take some backpedals on away. That neutral purple buff will be secured by Yummers, so a bit of extra farm in their pockets to try to assuage the bleeding that has slowly been started. The question is, when do we see that pressure pop once again? If you're this Hunbots, is the left lane where you always want to be?
At this point, you do want to put a lot to try to focus down this Bari, and Fear No Evil is going to be a great tool to make that happen. At the same time, you also try to remember that Gold Fury is going to be on that side of the map, so it really is just important to try to stop Bale from doing exactly this that we thought they would do. The Gold Fury isn't on the pillars, though. There is a chance to steal.
Unfortunately taken away. It was just maybe an aesthetic pillars. Certainly looked nice, and so does having all that extra money in pocket. Rongyu, though, unfortunately, might be going home in a coffin. The Bari ultimate is going to save him for a bit of time. Jisoo on the right side provides a distraction while Glavis decides that they want to try to test their mettle up against the elephant. Monkey Somersault says absolutely, but now they have no mobility left, and Baronary knows it. Finds the axe, gets some decent damage. Bari's there, silence on top. Not going to be able to find quite enough damage, though, to finish the job. Turns back around the staff slam. It's a good stun coming out from Awesome Jake. It's a better somersault. The Glorious One leaps on in with wild abandon. Might be something you come to regret. Solo or Troll will have their head. Rongyu still present. The Monkey as well on the right side has not backed yet. Should they decide to test their luck a bit too much? No ultimate for Glavis, but still can provide the damage. Solo or Troll tries to aggress. Awesomer Jake dashes back in. Beats forced off of Golden, and the silence ensures that no kill will be had here just yet.
Bit of an information dip from Bale there, right? Because Bayaneri didn't know that there was a whole entourage of peeps on the other side of that wall. I guarantee you that if they did know who was behind there, they would have maybe backed off just a little bit. And the fact that the Dharmic pillars were off just slightly at that Gold Fury pit, that could have spelled doom for Bale, because it put Rongyu in a really awkward position where he was soaking up quite a bit of damage. Luckily, the trade will favor Bale. At the end of the day, you get the Gold Fury, you don't lose too much in the process of it. Honestly, you could have won that fight. It was just a little bit off the mark in terms of the timing for everything for them, though. So once again, it's up to Yummers to try to find their get back. Susanoo's in a bit of trouble, though. Can you cast Jisoo?
Without a stun, it's going to be a bit more difficult. Luckily, Awesome Jake has to provide, but Ultra's got some of their own. Wow, that combo does too much damage. Typhoon not going to find the Monkey God, though, so they'll be able to somersault back to safety. The rotation is Yarkor, finds the stun, the axe off the mark, but the Merlin's damage is going to hit true. Baronary burned away once more. Yarkor might just be next. No one left to kiss. You will not be missed. Haddix bites off their head.
I mean, that was just crazy grouping from Yummers. Jisoo all the way over in that top left part of the Yummers jungle. And then it gets caught out. You have the Tomies try to roll up and save the day, but Yummers was already grouping up so well there. You just overwhelm them with your numbers advantage. Now we're bringing that over to the dual lane.
Gonna find the boar. Will hit both targets, and Glavis is present as well. The Bari ultimate, though, could reverse the pressure. Solo Patrol in trouble. Merlin, though, once again, the Death Ball's looking to roll you over. Golden tastes death for the first time, courtesy of Glavis. And Wrongyu's in trouble as well. The Monkey Somersault slows him down, but they remove the obstacles and charge on forward with not a care in the world. Cersei's Hexstone can be really useful to escape. Unfortunately, you left behind the body of your carry.
I mean, Gold Fury isn't up right now, so the only thing Yummers is really getting here is kills. There's no grander objective on the board to look for, but that does spell a little bit of concern for Bale. Yummers has been grouping up together like that twice now, where they just roam from the right side of the map all the way over to the left. And I feel like with a little bit more wards on the map, a bit more information, Bale could have seen that and said, okay, we are exiting stage left of this dual lane, and not sticking around to try to fight this. You just have to respect the fact that Yummers have a crazy team fight comp. I mean, Fear No Evil, you have the Kerber Assault, Merlin and Agni have great AoE damage that they can just throw on top of you. And look at Jake's build, right? Staff of Mirrodin. What are we cooking?
That's awesome, dude.
I mean, that's sick. You know what that does? I mean, you have double smoke, you get more stuns. That's just if you're setting things up. Otherwise, you can just throw out crazy fire waves, a lot of mobility with your dash, you double dash, Mario Kart style. There's a lot to love there. I'm really curious to see what the final picture here is for Awesome Jake's build.
So far for Yummers, it's looking to be an awfully pretty picture. Keep in mind the fact that Yummers need to make it all the way to the end, so unorthodox plays, we can't go in with the traditional means. We have to zig where you expect us to zag to make it to that final slot and continue to contend in the closed bracket. And so far, they're doing a pretty good job of it. Only about 1,000 or so behind. And they can continue to try to leverage that pressure, but Jisoo has some pressure of their own. Staff of Mirrodin is popped to allow for another flame dash. Awesome Jake trying to escape. He used it once more just to run halfway across the map. A bomb in response for Jisoo, a little bit of a parting gift before the support saunters away.
I love that. Staff of Mirrodin is such a wacky item. Jisoo, though, he's still looking for more. You do have Yummers in a pincer maneuver here. Can you find somebody?
In the bush, Jake reveals himself, but Jisoo's now the hidden one. It's a Cersei's
there it
goes
is.
forward and remove obstacles as well. Awesome Jake gets taken off the map. The Typhoon gonna hit for some big damage, but the Monkey God goes in with Bloodlust, takes down Jisoo for the shutdown before they are killed in kind by Golden. Overall, a 2-for-1 trade, one that Bile is not too upset to make.
Might be able to find another
And
one
you're
there.
dead too.
Golden with the double. Haddix is here?
Okay, sure. Man's best friend. Just tries to show some face over here. Get those two archers. Get those archers. Get that farm. Optimize! That's going to lose him the game right there. Unfortunately, Yummers were just not able to keep up with the amount of damage that Golden is outputting. That one death does not stop their roll.
I mean, it happens once a week, every week. We don't ban Bari, and then we remember why we banned Bari, right? I feel like Golden hasn't been respected as hard as maybe they should be this game because this character does so much damage, and they live forever because you have Serrated Edge Crusher, then you have your passives, you're just throwing out abilities, so you get a bonus ability, throwing out more abilities, your Serrated Edge is giving you a whole bunch of extra strength, you got the ultimates, there you're living forever. Yummers just jumps on top of her, and she goes, yes, Ganesha, can you throw down a Dharmic Pillars on my location exponentially, please? And Wrongyu goes, yes, I will. Please stop talking like that. And Bayonary dies.
Is dead.
Hold on a minute.
Unfortunate. That happens
That was
sometimes.
supposed to happen.
Haddix made that rotation on over. Music, it's what you said earlier. The fact that Yummers has a team fight comp, and they've brought the team fight phase of the game way earlier than you might normally expect, and it's actually paying some pretty brilliant dividends. Now they can try to leverage that into some objective pressure as well, where Bile should have the better hand. You have Ganesh with that pillar in hand as well. You can try to place in the right spot. Does indeed find the right mark, but the boar is the response. Fear No Evil as well. Glavis secures it with their ultimate instead. Now Wrongyu tries to dash back to safety. Staff of Mirrodin ensures it's not going to be a possibility. Jisoo answers back in the mid lane with a solo kill on Daniel, but overall the objective fight won for Yummers.
Bali does find the Pyromancer there. They're going to leave the bomb on the ground, classic. But I mean, overall, Yummers is going to come out a little bit ahead. I feel Gold Fury is going to be a bit more valuable to Yummers at this time because you still need to start racking up those Gold Fury pips. It's going to give you a bit more gold. For Bale, though, having access to that bomb, putting some more pressure on the towers, that's going to earn them a little bit of global gold on the map once they're able to knock those out. Still ahead for Yummers. They need that gold to stay up in the game, but I like the response from Bale, right? You send Rongu over, try to go for the steal, and you can see everybody over there. So you're like, all right, cool, this is a free pyro. And because you have this Aphrodite, you can sustain through the damage that objective would give you, and that enables you to scoop that up for yourself. So Bale is still able to stay a step ahead. But you do have to be careful, like you were saying before, the team fight stage that has been thrust upon Bale. Honestly, I feel like we're waiting for Golden to start joining them en masse, right? Once this Bari is in this 5v5 and they have all the peel, all the healing, all the setup, Golden's just going to be able to hold left click, occasionally press 1, 2, 3, press 4 once every, minute or so. And Yummers just kind of collapses underneath the weight of this Bari, unless Yummers is able to find a way to isolate Golden. And the way you can do that is either stunning with Awesome Jake. I mean, Hacks can try to get in there with their ultimate. Glavius has the opportunity there. But then, once you start thinking about that, how many resources do we need to put into Golden and still have enough for the team fight afterwards? Jisoo walks up to Glavius, and Jake is dead.
That's already a good start for the fight. The Typhoon sweeps up Glavis as well. Easy peasy. When those fights are separated, Bile just have that advantage. You needed to bring the team fight, and you had no team with you. Now they can storm down this mid-tier 1. Rongu, Cersei's Hexstone's on forward, but those pillars just only keep them in place for a little bit longer. Rongu in trouble. A Stygian Torment comes through. The beads are forced out. Yarkor forced into the grave by Solo or Troll, and now Jisoo's got to try to find their way to exit. A long, winding flank is being committed here by Golden, but can they two-step their way up quickly enough to actually get any value from it? Drops down the bell, gets the stun as well, pushes back the doggy before they're put back in the pound. Bayero takes credit for the kill. It's a 2-for-1 overall in favor of Bile.
There's that isolation we were talking about in picks and bans. While Jisoo is forcing away Glavius, they're able to find Awesome Jake, right? And if Haddix is up there by himself, there's nothing the puppy dog can do to avoid that scenario. That Kerberos, like you said, goes back into the kennel, goes back into the pound. It's unfortunate. Yummers have crazy team fight. They just haven't had a chance to fight it on their terms. We did see a hint of it earlier in the game. If you remember that mid-fight where they caught out Jisoo, they walked it all the way over to left side. I mean, over in Gold Fury, it was just one Rongu. Gold is taking a lot of damage here, actually. What's going on over there?
Trouble, I can tell you that much. That Bari ultimate will not save you. Solo Troll takes them down with one of the key offensive linchpins. Worth noting, before that last team fight, all the kills were in Jisoo and Golden's pockets. So once you stop that Bari from rolling forward, a lot of that pressure's taken off. You can see it right here. Cut the head off the snake, and the rest of the body might just go limp. Wind Siphon will not save you, and that tick nearly finishes the job. Should have built more damage items, Awesome Jake. What can I tell you?
He's got Soul Gem now? With the is it a support
Never
Agni?
mind.
It's not the tank Agni I thought it was. It's just new damage. It's Jake, you can't build War Flag on a character, call it a support, and then call it a day.
Yes, I can. Dude, did you not see the role I chose?
Oh,
look at the icon
right,
next to his
bad.
name in the leaderboard. It says support, dog.
Oh, it does. All right. Well, my mistake. Another Pyromancer there for Bale. So even as they start to lose folks, they still play the macro. They're still able to confirm some objectives, and that global gold is going to keep them ahead. It gives them a little bit of wiggle room where you can lose a couple of folks, you can give up a little bit of gold to Yummers, so you can have this fight.
This is going to be the first big fight here. Haddix starts with the Stygian Torment in the back line. Rongu has to go with that Cersei's Hexstone to try to ensure safety, but none is going to be had. Jisoo's the first to go, but Golden answers back onto Solo. Back line, Boombot's trying to get back to safety. Merlin can't find any. Golden walks through the flames, but has to eat all of the damage for it thanks to an amazing stun. Haddix is back, baby, and Golden's dead too. Boombot's still present. No, it's Awesome Jake instead. Gets shot out, lights out by Baronary. Glorious One charges over the wall, not into an ambush, but into the frenzy. Soon stun that from that Serb is going to be able, though, to drive him back. So overall, it's got to be content with that 2-for-2 trade. Some amazing plays back and forth, but man, that Serb stun.
I'm still reeling about that because Golden was going on a rampage there, just completely eliminating health bar after health bar, chases after Daniel, but walks through that fire, and then you have Haddix walk back like, hey, I can set off this, not too bad. And because Golden gets shut down there, that takes away a lot of the wind from Bale's sails. Luckily, Bayonary goes absolutely nuclear with this Uller. They earn themselves a Gold Fury just now too. And then you have to start to think, all right, cool, we killed Golden. Now we have to go against the other strongest character in the game. Uller, we haven't had a chance to talk about too much, but it leans into the pick composition, except he can set himself up. Once you get axed, you are losing a large amount of your health. If you're a squishy, you might die, right? That is just the name of the game for Bayonary right now. And Jisoo and Jarkor and Wrong You are here to add even more setup, right? This pick comp goes kind of crazy. Yummers is just looking for that all-at-once fight. It feels like traditionally you're like, oh, cool, you know, Glavius, maybe we look for like a Haddix to bait out some ability, something like that. You know, maybe Awesome Jake can find some beads. I don't think that's the plan this go around. I think you jump on them all at once and just say, all right, cool, deal with this, right? Do you have beads?
Yeah.
No? Goodbye.
I mean, worth noting, Baile Inolvidable have opted for no talismans as of yet, having a lot of faith staked in Yarkor's ability to keep the most important team members alive. But the question is, who is that? Who do you keep attached to the hip? It might just need to be Jisoo. They're in trouble, forced to beads out from the Fear No Evil, but there's awfully a lot to fear. Glavis on the prowl takes them down.
I mean, kind of a checkmate scenario there. You even saw that Daniel cut off the option with their Merlin Black Hole super sick ability. Very pretty, very nice. But while this is all happening, Golden's going to be pushing up that left side. Fire Giant picked up by Yummers. Uh-oh, Haddix taking a lot.
Nagas won't help you there, buddy.
He's dead. Oh, jeez.
That is not looking good to start things off. FG is going to be up for the claim. It drops down the pillars. Wrong You, though, drops shortly after. Daniel takes them out of its fire and flame. Moonbots takes the wind sprite over the wall right into the midst of that damage coming out from the Afro. Not enough, though. Solar Troll will have their head. Meanwhile, in the left lane, what's Bari up to? Pushing down this left side Phoenix. Why not? You got to quickly back if you want any hopes of saving it, which it seems they'll be able to do. Golden not trying to test their luck too much, decides to get on back to base.
Yummers did drop the Fire Giant there. They're not able to pick it back up because they do have to acknowledge what Golden is doing. But a little bit of a weird fight from Bale there. I've seen it twice now. Wrong You will walk up to an objective, try to get the pillars off, and then dies, right?
Yes.
And those pillars came out super early. I mean, a Fire Giant was a little bit more than 5k when the ultimate slammed down. You're not going to be able to steal anything with that. You're just kind of hastening the death of the FG and really risking a lot there. It feels like Bale was just a little bit mixed up in comms. Like, some folks were held up trying to kill Awesome Jake. Wrong You was already in position, and then Yummers still have this crazy team fight comp. You have the Fear No Evil. Haddix has got their ultimate. They have a lot of damage on hand, and if anybody tries to jump on top of Sot, you've got the Caledonian Boar, right? Ultimates were available for Yummers, and that kind of wins them the day in that engagement. And I don't think Golden found enough in that left side. It could have been a lot worse, though. If Yummers walked away with an FG, that would have just been a lost fight for Bale all in all.
I do agree that these Ganesh ultimates are leaving a bit to be desired in terms of their early nature. We saw that in the Gold Fury on the left side as well prior. 22 minutes in. How is the gold spelling? Despite it being 14-16 in Yummers' favor with the kills, it's actually a 5k lead here for Baile Inolvidable. And that points to what you mentioned before, Musi. They're focused on the macro, on the big picture. Yummers maybe a bit of tunnel vision. Gotta look to see the axe coming right for your face. Baronary has got to get out of there as well. They try to leap back to safety. Jisoo in the back line finds the Typhoon, gets 2 kills off the bat. Haddix leaps back in, but this puppy dog's not getting a treat. Sit down, stay. Yarkor does go down in trade, but not quite what you're looking for at this point. The Flames not going to be able to tail it off Jisoo just yet. The Pillars plays just so, and Bayro with an arrow to the heart drops down the double kill on top of the support. Daniel is the sole survivor.
That's crazy sustain and crazy survivability from Bale. Jarkor was throwing out the heals. I think the real big thing there, though, was Golden's ultimate as it came down, was just barely able to save Jarkor long enough that it forced Yummers to look at this Aphrodite and try to finish up that kill while we're so busy putting so much into Jarkor. The rest of the team is like, oh, I guess we'll kill you. You're walking up into our territory, you're walking up against us, we can take you out. And Yummers scatters right? I mean, Jake was off over towards that left side. They get chased down. Haddix got bursted out. Sot wasn't able to live through it. Fire Giant's falling down below 4K. And Yummers is nowhere to be seen to try to take this away. The bomb, just to be sure. Fire Giant will go the way of Bale as they start to look at bigger pictures. I mean, you have tier 2 towers available on the map or a fight on your hands.
Axe start things off, separates it instantly as Awesome Jake walks in, expecting backup, turns back, hey, where's Glavis? He's dead too. That axe came out of nowhere. Daniel, the sole survivor last time. I have a feeling it's not going to be the same fate. A double kill served up by Golden. Haddix now tries to flee for safely. A good spit. Does stun wrong you for a little bit longer. The Wind Sprite taken to follow, but it's only going to be Yarkor to try to solo them down, or at least stall for time. Solo or Troll. Engaged in what could be the last solo fight they see up against this Uller. Does have the dagger in pocket too, makes it a bit more risky on both ends of the spectrum. Tier 2 goes down inside the mid, and now it just might be that mid bird being served up next.
I mean, that's the pick comp right there. Somebody got axed, somebody got kissed, 2 people died. Immediately 2 people died. So Bale, now with this FG, they're able to take that mid Phoenix. They're gonna start moving over towards that left side. They still have a bomb, they still have a dagger. Yummers has respawned at this point, so they could defend, but the bird's looking pretty low.
Left side is gonna be served up nice and easy. Jisoo trying to serve as a distraction in that mid. Might do some damage, just a dash on forward, a triple stun as well, and dashes right back out. Staff of Mirrodin, baby! Yarkor, the first one to be put on a spit. Wrong, you might just be next. The Monkey Somersault back into Danger, and an arrow will be your just compensation. Barrow takes him down. It's the boring response. You're familiar with those, Elephant. Now get inside my jaws. Jisoo slices down Solo Troll. Still in the back line. Jake dashes once again, back for safety. A Sundering Arc's applied, and Barrow grabs the double, leaps back in for more. I've got a dagger, sucker. I'm unkillable.
I mean, this Uller is getting active. Jisoo in the back line completely eviscerates anybody back there. Bale is looking in a really strong position. They just need some minions to take a look at this Titan.
It's all up to Yummers. Their entire bracket run to reach the next stage lies on this last dance, baby. Baile inolvidable. Step up and then decide to step back, actually. They want to try to bide their time, want to try to do things right, play it by the book, grab some more objectives, strip the jungle, and come back for everything.
Don't play it safe. I don't hate the safe play here, honestly. My philosophy as a general rule is when it comes to ending the game, you play it safe. When it comes to trying to fight around FGs, you play aggressive, right? So Bale, they play it safe. They're going to go for this Ancient Gold Fury. They're going to starve the map of any gold, make it so that Yummers can't find any kind of get back. And then slowly walk it down, get the confirm. You don't have to panic it. Can we talk about that double dash from Awesome Jake?
It's so good!
Gets the stun on top of, was that 3 or 4 people?
3!
I thought that was a wipe for Bale. I was like, oh, okay, Jake. I didn't know you were
the fear
like
no
that.
evil after, it was ridiculous.
It was so good. The potential for this team comp is here. I'm an Agni support believer at this point. But you have this cool staff and beard in tech. And then you're following it up with a gem of focus and a soul gem. Where's your team?
He's crazy. He's not a support.
Where's your front
He's not.
He's like a support in spirit. He's like, I'm not playing to do damage. I'm just playing to set up. You know, if I do damage, so be it. Pyromancer scooped up by Bale there. More farm choked away. But I feel like because Yummers is lacking that front line, they just kind of, they're extremely susceptible to the pick comp because now the Agni can get picked, right? You get a stun on top of this Agni. Where are his defense items? War Banner? Yeah, right. What is that, like 25 of each prot? What do you think, this is a game? What? I don't like, it's not gonna happen. You don't get to live through that.
Awesome Jake walks up, he's like, yeah, I'm your support for today. You look at his wall, it says like support certification from the University of Wisconsin Soda. It's like, that doesn't seem right.
Hold on a minute, that's not a real place?
It's an online degree, you wouldn't know of it.
Yeah. I got my support degree from Carroll College.
Exactly. It's like, dude, how much do you pay for that, huh? Well, we'll see if they can pay him back in like fashion. Good Stygian Torment, though. The Bari will be able to escape back, and now Haddix is the one in trouble instead. Typhoon sweeps him up, and Glavis and Troll go down alongside. Whoa! Triple kill. So easily delivered. Baronary is divine, and Awesome Jake is dead. Jisoo finishes the job for a deicide. Sorry, Yummers, but this is un baile que nunca vas a olvidar. Baile inolvidable. Take the Titan and win the game.
I mean, That last fight kind of happened all at once, but again, Haddix is surging up to try to find Golden, and then just gets
Only
knocked around by CCs.
Where's my support?
So, because your support is your solo's up there, he soaks all up all the damage. Your backline just gets blown up. So Bale just are able to scoop away the game.
Man, I love it, though. I love how untraditional it is. I love how interesting and innovative it is. Sadly, innovation isn't always recognized in its time. But look at the textbooks in 30 years. Awesome Jake's name is sure to pop up a few times in your social studies classes as the crazy mad lad who dashed twice in and out of the fights. That being said, still plenty of more games coming at you, so don't you dare go anywhere. More Smite Prime action after the break.
Riveting stuff from D'Lo here. I'll be the first one to say it. I mean, I'm
back.
flabbergasted. We're back. There you go.
We'll get it eventually, maybe. We're getting back into the groove of things, and we're getting back into some good games. D'Lo Musi on the mic, Morton Man Almighty Eye in the sky. I'm on the mic at the very least for now, as long as my mic allows it. Jiffins and basically Billy are people behind the curtain, and Musi, we just got to watch a pretty interesting start to our bracket here today in Week 3. You can tell that even though there's high stakes, players are still willing to get a bit experimental, a bit funky fresh when it comes to the builds and picks.
It's classic Awesome Jake to go for something like an Agni support the way that they did. I definitely saw the vision, but I felt like up against the team comp that Bale had, it was a little bit rough going just because Haddix was up all by themselves trying to soak up so much damage, and Bale's team comp was built on isolating a squishy and just blowing them up. And when you got 4 squishies sitting there that are ready to be kissed, to be axed, to be sucked in, to be knocked up, silenced, anything, it just means that they get kind of eliminated. And this point didn't come up in the cast, but I feel like viewers at home already noticed it. But look at how many beads are there for Yummers. There's like 1, and it's for Solo or Troll, the person that has a CC immune ultimate. The only other person that has CC immune ultimate was Haddix. So Glavis, Awesome Jake, Daniel, they gotta get deleted super hard. There's no talisman either. So it just made the pick come from Bale all that much better. It made their CC that much more consistent. I don't think Yummers was quite ready to go up against this Bale team.
No, but I can say without a doubt, no one was ready for what craziness we saw to Awesome Jake either. Maybe even his own team. Nonetheless, Baile Inolvidable will move on. Yummers, unfortunately, this is where their Smite Prime run will end, but not without giving us an awfully flashy fight to the very end. So we'll wish Baile good luck in their future endeavors as they continue on through the bracket, but we still got more action here for you. Speaking of, let's take a look at the landscape and what's been going on. Orange Kiss, Smite 2 Bad Boys, that's where our attention goes next, but we can see Clocked In are still waiting for their opponent, Los Backyardigans or Chalice Chads, who will be stepping up there. We also have a few more teams, Musi. Anyone that you've got your eye for in terms of other matchups?
I'm interested to see how Gibbeted Book does this go around, because last week they were looking really solid all the way, even kind of during that last final game that they had last week. But the fact that they were able to upset Orange Kiss in brackets last week was very, very interesting. They put on such a crazy good show. I'm kind of hoping to see them again in semis, but against a team like Globe's Last Supper, that's going to be a pretty big ask just because that team looks also fairly stacked. It's very interesting to know that already in round 2, it's just nothing but big heavy hitters.
Just what you would hope for, just what you'd expect, means that we still have amazing, pristine plays to come in the future. But again, Orange Kiss, Smite 2 Bad Boys. That's what we're looking here so far. And it's worth noting, only 8 teams can move on, Musi, to that closed bracket to fight for that $7,000 cash prizing and $12,500 diamond prizing to buy up all those skins that you could ever hope for. So if you're looking to be the 7th seed, you gotta maybe look for that big fat upset, hope to get Gibbeted Book, same Moxie.
I mean, if there's anybody who could do an upset, it's got to be Gibbeted Book, because they have just been doing it again and again. I feel like it's a team that has gotten progressively better as time goes on, which has been very interesting to watch them do. Like, it's just super fun to see them. And I'm also especially interested to see how this game pans out, just because Orange Kiss got knocked out so early last week. You gotta imagine that they want to come at it with their full force again this week. Notably, a little bit of a roster change for Orange Kiss as well. Cheerio is not here. It's going to be Final K over in that solo lane.
A different fruit instead. Well, it makes sense. They are no longer Cherry Slush after all. So as we hop into P's and B's, we can see what that might result in when it comes to the different landscape of gods they decide to pick up and take off the map. Now, do we ban Bari? Do we ban Bari? Guys, did you learn your lesson? Do we ban Bari? Let's find out.
I mean, Bari, Aladdin, Hunbots, Susanoo, Ares, Ganesha, Neith, Pele. There are
That's more than
so
6.
many characters. Yeah, it's more than 6. There's quite a bit. You're going to let something through. And at this point, if you're Orange Kiss, it's got to be, what do we want to first pick? What are we trying to prioritize? As a general rule, I feel it usually starts out with whatever you want to try to give Scream, and Scream is a player that likes to have something that can bully people out of their jungle. I mean, they played the Mercury, they played Fenrir, there's a little bit of everything in Scream's god pool. It's like a god ocean, right? It's very hard to ban them out. Benny Q looks good on almost everything that he touches. Very partial to the Anubis recently, though. I wonder if that's going to be a mainstay for this Orange Kiss composition. It offers them quite a bit because it lets them play their macro game of trying to burn down objectives, early gold furies. So I'm really curious to see if we get to see Anubis plus Mercury again, or if it's going to be something new this time around.
You know what I can see? A ton of healing hate down in the bans below. I see Baron, Yamoja, Guan Yu, Afro Thor, all capable of sustain of themselves and the rest of their team. They say, dude, I don't care if anti-heal items are still in the game right now. I don't want to see those gods anywhere near my playing field.
I mean, we're not quite to the next patch where anti-heal is gone, relegated to gods, and healing gets a rebuff. So at this point, Orange Kiss and Spite 2 Bad Boys are like, listen, we don't want to build a hunk. We don't want to build Divine Ruin. We don't want to build Brawlers. We want to build all the other cool items. I'm sick of it, tired of it. What is something else? And that's how you do it. You just take them all off the board. Kali's going to be the last one banned there, which is your second favorite god. It is Aladdin.
Yep.
Big ups.
Big ups, big 2-trick over here. Aladdin being one half of that god pool. Scream's got a god ocean. I have a god thimble. But nonetheless, this man knows how to work the sticks on this character. And we saw it be banned in our prior series before, and that wasn't even Scream facing up against you. So what this means is, like you said, Musi, they're going to go aggressive. They're going to be diving for your jungle.
And Aladdin offers a lot of, like you said, dive. You can go ahead and jump. Pause. Hold on. Sorry, my second favorite.
Yeah, now you're having fun, huh?
This is we're both big ups right now. Sun Wukong. I want to talk a little bit about Sun Wukong here. His Smite Prime debut for this character more than likely headed towards Remikami, but you also have the int scaling for Wukong, makes his cudgel longer, and also gives you a bit of that int damage that you're looking for. So what does it bring to the table as a whole? Full tank Sun Wukong, not the best. Sun Wukong that's mostly focused on damage, I feel is going to be a bit stronger for Smite 2 Bad Boys. You have crazy good poke, you heal faster in your ultimate, the more int that you have, so it's a little bit more survivability. Are you going to run the aspect? I would say probably no, right? Yeah, you can give a knock-up on your Master's Will. That is all well and good, but locking yourself into an animal does feel like something that's very hard to commit to, when part of what made Sun Wukong so strong in Smite 1 was the versatility of the animals. You could bird out, you could ox in, you've got tiger form to stun, and I feel like that's not something that players want to give up quite yet. Just so that you can have a little bit more attack speed, a little bit more of a knock-up. Dilo Bari got through again, by the way, while I was ranting.
Crap.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, Musi, it's your favorite team.
I'm rooting for the Smite 2 Bad Boys in my heart and soul just because I get to see them play Shaka and Wukong, but that is a composition that Orange Kiss have out the gates that makes me very, very worried for what Smite 2 Bad Boys have locked in.
There's a lot we got going on. We didn't even talk about the areas that Smite 2 Bad Boys have also decided to lock in alongside it. Hoonbots being added on top means a ton of beads burn potential, but the question is, we saw that before, does beads burn potential mean anything if you can't actually coalesce and cohesively find those team fights? Whereas Aladdin, his entire deal is I isolate you, I solo you inside the lamp, wipe my hands clean and do it all over again after wishing for power. Princess Bari can also take those 1v1s rather easily, and Merlin can burn away. This is my favorite game of all time. Holy crap. Ymir as well. Pele, sure, a Song of Ice and Fire. I love it.
This is... Okay. I like both of these team comps. Personal feelings about who my favorite gods in the game are aside.
Dude.
Orange Kiss
it's my team versus your team.
Yeah, it's kind of what it feels like. I mean, Orange Kiss have a lot of damage. They scale super hard into the late game as well. Aladdin and Bari and Pele, those are late game hyper carries, and Pele is more than likely going to be over in that solo lane for Fine OK. So maybe not as much on the damage side, but a lot of sustain, a lot of healing, and a lot of CC. Pair that with the fact that Bobby's going to be running with this Ymir. There's a lot of walls you can use to try to shut down. I mean, Ares, Wukong get kind of locked in to corridors unless the Wukong is forced to ult out. Shock and Ubot's on her, they have ways around it, but it does take a certain form of commitment in order to get through and around the geography that you're posting up there. The team fight between both of these teams is pretty intense. Smite2 Bad Boys have a lot of dive between Ares, Shock, Hunbots, especially Sun Wukong, who I'm looking at the Sun Wukong. I'm thinking they're going to be headed towards the mid lane, Shock over the solo lane. So I'm hoping it's against the popular way to play the character right now, because a lot of people like to play Shock full damage because it's very strong, it does a lot, but I kind of want to see a Shock tank so you can bait the Shock for the follow-through from Smite2 Bad Boys.
Well, this might just be very well one of the best games we'll get, at the very least in terms of the picks. We'll find out if the game plays the same way as we hop in real quick. It's going to be Smite2 Bad Boys stepping up to Orange Kiss. Will we get the upset we desire? At the very least, I hear a gasp from Muzi, so something must be going on that's good. What you see?
It's a Sun Wukong solo with the Conduit gem. Huzzah! All right, so there's a lot to unpack here. Yep, we're gonna start out and work our way in, right? Relics, exactly the same across the board, down to which role has it. So no shells to deal with this Ymir wall, but plenty of beads and Sunders for confirm, so that if anybody, i.e. Ares, Hunbots, I mean the lamp, you have freezes, people are gonna have responses to the CCs. That's important. When it comes to the solo lane, Sun Wukong, Conduit Gem, you have that gem as well. So we're going to be leaning more towards intelligence, probably a full damage Sun Wukong, or a little bit of tank. I feel like something like a Shifter's, a Triton's Conch would be something you could splash into a full damage build to give yourself a little bit of that tanky bruiserness without having to fully commit to it. But in terms of what that lane looks like, I'm pretty sure Remikami and Fine OK don't have to fight each other too much. Remikami especially is just going to be able to cudgel that lane and then walk away, right? A lot of the action is probably going to be coming from either Twig or Scream, trying to get active in these mid or side lanes, just because I feel like Fine OK and Remikami playing the Pele and the Wukong don't get caught out too often because they have sustain, they have escapes, it's not a big deal. Ares and Ymir, though, not a lot of mobility there, right? They should be able to lock them down. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, it's already getting a scuffle as Benny Q's taking a lot of poke, but looks like he'll be okay for now.
And Muzi, when you're talking about the level 5 difference, this is a game that really stands out to me as one where it becomes super important, because that Aladdin is going to be so capable of finding those solo kills once they have that lamp, and same with the Hunbots being able to drop you down with the Fear No Evil. See a Scream, not dissuaded by the fact that there's two of them, still goes in with the Sultan's Grace and gets a bit of extra damage on top. Now, there's so many characters I feel like you could look at as the pressure picks, the ones that have a lot riding on their shoulders. Ares with the Shackles, Twig with the Fear No Evils. Who do you have your eye on as potential MVP?
So Twig is going to be a huge factor for Smite2 Bad Boys here. I mean, Fear No Evil is the ult that either ends or starts a team fight. I would really hope to see them use it to end a team fight, try to have something baited out with a roar looking for a no escape. Maybe it's a little bit off the mark, or, you know, burns beads more accurately is how I would say it. And then you just have Twig loop around from the side, try to go for that flank and set up. You have a lot of damage with your team between Wukong and Shock, especially if they're both going full damage. Dude, a Shock ult plus a Wukong ult plus the clones, Master's Will, the Cudgel, it happens to you all at once. A character like Merlin, if they don't have Flicker available to them, they're going to get blown up. Inbound is going to run into the possibility of just getting isolated and destroyed. Scream has the benefit of that lamp, though. So it really does come down to who's going to be able to bait out the resources appropriately so that their big swinging CC will hit the way that they want to, and who's going to be the first one to get a kill. You can see that Scream's already over in that solo lane. Can they catch out Ramakami?
They don't have the level 5 difference quite just yet, but neither does Ramakami. Clone's going to be spawned, and that receives their ire for a bit longer. Decent poke, but still no kills 3 minutes in. A far less bloody outcome than we saw in the opening outset of that first game we got. Now, Orange Kiss, if you're looking at them, do you want to see them step up the pressure? Who really benefits when the game is played more passively?
So, Orange Kiss scales super hard into late game. Like I said, in picks and bans, they have a lot going for them. I think they want to accelerate that process and still try to play around the macro like they've always done. Putting pressure on the left side and then trying to find a Gold Fury fight after they get a kill over in dual lane. It's why it's so interesting to see them put a little bit more into solo, but I guess because Gold Fury's down, now is a great time to see if you can find an early advantage there before the solo lane turns into not a nothing burger, but very much a neither of these players really kill each other unless somebody really screws up. So try to bring that pressure over to duo, try to set yourself up for bigger objectives, and then from there, just carry yourselves into the late game, having more gold than anybody else.
Well, securing the Flame Brand is a pretty solid way to do so, but only reflecting about 100 gold lead for Orange Kiss so far. Talk about the resource expenditure of each of these teams. I gotta imagine this is going to be a game where we do see at the very least one talisman on one side of the map, but I wouldn't mind seeing two. If you are this Ares, if you're saying that the Hoon bots is meant to end the fight, are you looking to start things off?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Aurora is going to be walking up, pulling a no escape, and just saying, do you have beads? He's just asking the question, is your beads up? If your beads are up, you're fine. If your beads aren't up, though, you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. Double freeze? All right. Follow up? No. Not so much.
Unfortunately, wasn't quite in the best position for it. Some decent damage off the back of that wall, too, which is worth noting that On Her can also maybe potentially, if Inbound is not quick enough in disabling the wall, could use it to their own advantage to find some impale stuns. And the pillar itself could provide some interesting geography manipulation to these fights we get so far. But nothing in terms of fights that we've gotten on top of the map. And I'm just hoping to see some aggression be elicited by Scream once they make the rotation to left.
I mean, you do see the fact that Scream was hanging around in that left side. They're definitely looking to see what they can find. I can hear something.
I heard a Shards of Ice be used, which means that something must have died, surely, because Ymir's the best god in the game. But we have to wait to find out. It seems that Kronos is now released and is messing with time here, freezing things just for a second while we wait to get back into game.
Is that Kronos or is that Ymir?
Both. Father of Time, Father of Frost Giants. He does it all, you know? Ymir's been picking up a bit more work. He got a raise. Got a promotion.
Yeah. Good for him.
All right, well, it does seem like we have a bit of technical difficulties going on, no matter who might be behind it, so don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short little break with the results of Orange Kiss and Smite 2 Bad Boys. Much action at the very least. Still 0-0, 5 minutes in. But it does mean that level 5 difference has been acquired. Full diamonds on each side. But we're trying to pick up some diamonds of our own, maybe with some help of that Gold Fury to assuage our wallets. Gonna be a quick Shards of Ice, and the Sunder secure. Inbound grabs it without any contestation.
So that's what the Shards of Ice was. So already Orange Kiss has been playing this macro game, and this is what I kind of expect from this team at this point. Gold Fury spawns, Orange Kiss is there, right? And they always try to draft a team that can take a look at that Gold Fury sooner rather than later. This Ymir offers quite a lot in the way of team fights, but it also gives you a lot of early damage on top of objectives. Be it with your autos, you've got your ultimate as well, and then you have Cyclone Spin with this Bari. It's just a lot of damage on hand, right? So now the question is, can Smite 2 Bad Boys turn that around on top of Orange Kiss? You have crazy team fight. You just have to fight them on the objective. How do you do that? You need information. You need wards on these Gold Furies around the pathing so you know where Scream is headed. Try to force that fight so you can burn out those beads, look for repeat engagements. It's the best way you can do it.
Might be engaging on top of Scream on this right side. It would be a 3v2 if the Sun Wukong decides to rotate in, but Aladdin decides to instead leap back out. And when these fights do get a bit more claustrophobic, I'm really looking for the Ares to completely shut that down. Two things that can really just slow an Aladdin's roll. It's an Awilix or an Ares. If those shackles find the mark, you can literally not use 2/3 of your kit.
It's super tough. You force out the beads, or you at least try to beg your teammate for a talisman. Maybe look for the lamp, CC immune, but at that point, who are you going to ult, right? If the Ares is chaining you and you ult the Ares, I think you're already between a rock and a hard place. So there's a lot of onus on Aurora to try to control FineOK in these scenarios. But it doesn't look like they're able to find too much. Bobby throws up a wall. Purple buff is secured for Orange Kiss. Yet another reason why this Ymir pick gets to pop off for them. So where do you go from here, right? Smite 2 bad boys. How do you force a fight when Orange Kiss just won't fight you unless it's on their terms? Maybe you can catch out Scream in the jungle.
It's exactly what you expected. Scream looking for these invades, trying to get a bit cheeky with it as we see the Naga and red buff being engaged at the same time. Opt for the red buff steal and does succeed. Do you get a bit more from it as well? Yes, you do! Scream has committed highway robbery. Trying to add a bit more to it. A purple buff, why not? Calm down, mister. Lamps a wall. You know, you can't be perfect every time. The cudgel nearly results in their end, but Scream's able to get out safely, and instead it's Mosswall who dies for first blood, courtesy of volcanic lightning from FineOK's hands.
First blood at nearly 8 minutes in the game. Good lord. You might be able to find some more there over there in the dual lane, though. Does look like Inbound and Cyclone Spin have a fight on their hands.
Impale doesn't find the stun, but the shackles find the mark. The Bari ultimate as well. We need to make some kills happen beforehand. Knocks away Inbound before saying no escape for you. And the flames have been applied. Can it finish off Cyclone quickly enough? No, it can't. They stand strong. Ymir's the best god of the game. Gosh darn it. Hoonbots, though, has an answer back. It's a Fear No Evil and a Staff Slam on top. Double kill for double kill in response.
I mean, Aurora pulled off everything from the Orange Kiss dual lane. It opens up the door for Twig to just come through, press 4, and leave. Unfortunately, it costs you Aurora and Rudolph in order to pick up those kills. Smite 2 bad boys are able to find a little bit of get back, but it's just not enough. Now Scream's picking on Twig.
Wish for Power has all the cooldowns available. That lamp is going to be provided. Staff Slam will not save you from your inevitable fate. One more bit of damage before they're going to go down. A couple more autos, a scratch in the back, and Twig will fall up over the wall and back into safety. On her can try to pursue. You just don't have the mobility to catch the Madman.
Scream's Aladdin is disgusting. Dude, every time I see it, I'm like, oh my lord. Like, when you think of an Aladdin player, you think of Scream. You think of Founders. You think of moments like this, where you can tell they are just in their zone. I mean, are you Scream?
No, I'm not Scream.
I'm pretty sure I beat you in a 1v1 not too long ago game.
Don't mention it on Smite Prime. Oh no! 9 minutes, 4-2. We're seeing a fight go down here in the dual lane, but only going to be a few shackles and a few flames applied. So with that one fight, who really wins? Because you get both of the kills in the pocket of your jungler, but at the same time, none of your dual lane got any of the credit.
I think overall, Orange Kiss is still feeling pretty good about everything, because remember, Scream comes through and finds a kill for themselves. Bobby's taking a lot of poke here, so is Rudolph, but Cyclone Spin doesn't really have the damage here.
In fact, the poke's being applied on their end, but that just might be a big Scream. Has the Kufic Invocation. Just takes a quick sip from their chalice before they go back into combat. The lamp is going to be somersaulted right on over, and that forces Scream to retreat. Inbound now might be a bit out of position. If Twig's able to close the distance, a Fear No Evil ensures they will be all nice and close, like a rocket jump to try to get back out. I'm sorry, Bari, I've got to leave you, buddy. Twig going to take their corpse back home as it tries.
It was extra unfortunate for Cyclone Spin there. Inbound's wall did more harm than good. Pincered between an on her pillar and a Ymir wall. That is not where you want to be. Just gets absolutely destroyed there. Unfortunately, paying a little bit for the aggression from Scream. Inbound and Cyclo get a little bit caught out, but now it's Twig who's getting caught out here. What are you doing?
He said, I really liked what you did there with the Naga. I'm trying to do it myself. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Twig will unfortunately go down. Get him! They say, not in my junkyard. Who do you think you are? Sick him, Ymir. Inbound's going to be able to get a bit of redemption for that earlier Dolo blunder.
Gold Fury is respawned at this point. So now we all have to wonder, when do Orange Kiss take a look at it, or do my two bad boys take the first crack? It looks like Duelane wanted to face check it there just to see what was going on. And remember, Orange Kiss has crazy potential to just melt away a Gold Fury. They want to try to find a kill first, just so that they can skew the numbers in their favor. And if there's anybody who can do that, might be Cyclone Spin. Aurora goes in.
Cersei's Hexstone right into the double freeze. Not too much damage, though, to follow it up because Cyclone Spin was busy.
Fine, okay.
Poke. In the back line is Fine Okay off the back of the teleporter. Desert's Fury didn't have enough damage, actually. Might have mispredicted, but one last shot from their Volcanic Fist will finish the job. Screams en route as well, as if it wasn't bad enough. The Shards of Ice result in Aurora's end. Sun Wukong, though, makes their presence known. Tiger form is going to be immune by the Bari ultimate. You can't wait forever, though. Back in the Somersault Cloud. Back on down. Purification beads to immune it, will finish off the Bari before Benny Q, with a flick of their wrist, disassembles Sun Wukong as well. It's a 3-for-1 overall, and one Orange Kiss is happy to make.
Unfortunately, with the death of Cyclone Spin, Orange Kiss can't take a look at the Gold Fury like they wanted to with that rotation. I mean, this is textbook for them. Scream is out?
Gotta be in fact the lamp, but it's beads away instead. Twig with a fantastic play from the Relic ensures you can't go to the Thunderdome. You're just going back home instead. Good first kill there on top of the jungle.
My two bad boys take a look at this Pyromancer now because you got the damage shock plus your jungler. It is getting swiftly deleted. Right. Fine, okay. No.
Wind Sprite's in Aftermath. So my two bad boys do grab that objective without too big of an issue, and a Monkey Somersault ensures that there's going to be no bloodshed had just here. Just yet. 13 minutes, 8-5 in favor of Orange Kiss, but with that Pyromancer play only about 2,000 behind are our friends on the side of Chaos, so they can't feel too shabby about it. Now, what can they do, Musy, to get back into things?
I mean, they're already kind of doing it, being able to zig whenever Orange Kiss zags, looking at Pyromancer as a means of putting some more global gold inside of your pocket, making rotations. Remakami showing up when they did was good stuff. Just try to stop Orange Kiss from executing on their game plan. Kill Cyclone Spin, make it so that Orange Kiss can't take a look at objectives after fights. Even better if you can show up to these Gold Furies first and see if you can force a fight on your terms.
Oh no. The Pillar actually might have blocked your own means of engaging. The Sacred Monkey opts not to teleport in. Inbound was ready for that option. But using that Impale actually pushed Inbound into a safer position where they're able to back out. So you lose the buff, at least you don't lose your life, buddy, so we can't feel too bad about that. Looking at the map overall, it's interesting where the pressure's been levied. It seems a lot of it is going once again to that dual lane. The mids have been kind of welcome to do their own thing, and the solos just occasionally rotate out with those teleporters.
Yeah, and between Benny Q and Moswell, neither of them have great kill potential. Uh-oh. You know who does, though? This Ymir looking pretty close to death.
Gonna find that Moonbot's ult on the back, already having to use that wall, so their one form of escape has been expended. A Stampede, though, provides an alternative means. Desert's Fury expended to evade the knockup, but you can't evade these Shards of Ice. The Song of Ice and Fire, the last thing that Rudolph will hear before they're lulled back into forever sleep. Gold Fury now potentially on the mark. They do have Cyclone Spin present. They have a fantastic wall. Forces out that no escape to immune the freeze right into a Sun Wukong Staff Slam. A decent amount of damage, enough to force the poke and force them back, but Scream forces members into the lamp. It's Mosswall in trouble. The Storm Call evaded by the leap, but now you've got the Nagas on top of it. One last slam down from the Genie, right into the chains the moment you step out of the lamp. Aurora finds the counter kill.
Inbound picks up a Gold Fury. Fight's not quite done yet. Orange Kiss looking for more.
This could be damage enough on the Sun Wukong, but that Somersault Cloud ensures safety as they leap right back over that wall. And Aurora did their job perfectly there. They provide enough of a distraction off the no escape to initially pull them off the Gold Fury. It doesn't result in them staying alive from that objective the entire time, but at the very least you're able to somewhat counter all this pressure that Scream's manifesting.
Scream is definitely the person that you have to put down. What in the world is that build Inbound?
Dude, that's a lot of shirts.
That's a lot of shirts
right there. That's me a unique
Legionnaire armor, Legionnaire armor, Legionnaire armor, Legionnaire armor, engraved guard.
You're looking good, Inbound.
Okay, it's a dwarven.
Like, I guarantee it.
Am I going insane? So, I mean, I don't even know what I was talking about before. I made the mistake of glancing down. What in the world? It offers a lot of physical protection against the 4 main physical damages that Smite 2 Bad Boys have. I mean, who does the magic damage? Aurora? Yes, by the way. Ares does crazy damage, but not to a Ymir. So no wonder Inbound's been able to live through all these engagements. You watch everybody pile dog on top of him and he's fine. Dude, this guy is dressed for a winter storm. That's why. 4 Legionnaire armors. I didn't know you were built like that. How do you put all those on?
He might not die from physical damage, but he's going to die from heat stroke at any moment here. You got to be careful, buddy. BennyQ in trouble themselves. Cools down the temperatures, though, with a good freeze to ensure that they can't continue to chase the Merlin. I have 4 shirts. You're not going to kill me, I swear. They quickly find that out. Smite 2 Bad Boys have got to turn back and find someone who's less fashionably dressed.
I gotta
call my mom.
I gotta call my mom. I'm still geeking about these Legionnaires.
4 Legionnaires, Mel. Can you pick me up?
I love both of these teams with all of my heart and soul. These players are so goated. These are players in a game. Bless them. Well, Lamp's off the mark. Aurora's gonna pull in too.
But it's just going to instantly be immune by a Beads and a Shards of Ice, respectively. A lot of CC immune ults on the side of Orange Kiss. 3 to be exact. So if you want to really pull someone in, it's got to be BennyQ or Cyclone Spin. No Beads as well. And the Shackle apply. You're not flickering out to anywhere, buddy. Storm Call's calling for home. Maswal gets the kill. In return, the Nagas begin their engagement as Aladdin makes their entrance from stage right, only to return back to the tower and then return back to base.
I wonder if BennyQ didn't quite get the memo there that his teammates backed off. Maybe was looking for a little bit something, or just didn't anticipate the fact that Smite 2 Bad Boys was looking for kills. They pick up this Pyromancer, drops to 1, but is there a steal?
Oh, it's close at the very least. I can't even tell what the name is. It's too gosh darn dark.
Aurora
grabs it for Smite 2 Bad Boys. Now could be some damage being dropped on top of the Bari instead. Barely any life as they nurse back to health. Twig now in trouble as they try to continue to pursue. The rest of Smite 2 Bad Boys have already disengaged. Only Sun Wukong remains alongside their monkey brethren on the front lines. And they're quickly wiped away. Remikami goes down. Twig answers back on top of Scream. And with one somersault over the wall, they might be able to get back to safety. A Stampede in hot pursuit. Mosswall not TPing to the closest lane. No support oncoming, but none needed. Hoonbot's going to be able to get out safe.
I mean, with Merlin getting picked off there, Orange Kiss loses a lot of their AoE damage that they would have really appreciated in that fight. And then, while Cyclone Spin is able to get away, you got a really good beads from Twig to be able to get the last hit there on top of Scream, just having the right response to the lamp. Just making sure you can stay alive. Final Case getting a lot of damage off. Twig?
Good freeze, and the Shards of Ice will ensure the end. Best character in the game, ladies, gents, and NBs. No escape, pulls back in the both of them. But it's still inbound taking it. That's a tower, baby. All those shirts you got to eat through to try to actually touch the stuff of this Ymir, and it is awfully tough. So, 19 minutes in, 12-8 reads the scoreboard. Only about, though, 1,000 ahead in this moment in time. Orange Kiss are still having to do a bit more work to ensure they get a bit more favor.
And what's also worth noting here is that Smite 2 Bad Boys don't have any anti-heal. This Pele sustains quite a bit. We saw them underneath that tower, soaking up damage and then earning their health bar back just by hitting the minions. Like, we need a curse dog. We need I know we banned out all the healers because we didn't want to build those items.
They banned everything.
You gotta build it anyways,
so
right?
Pissed.
That's a sad fact of life. You gotta make a room in your build for that item slot. Right, you already get to build. Smite 1, you got to build 6 items. One of them was a guaranteed starter item. Now you have a guaranteed starter item slot. You have 6 item slots. You have to guarantee your anti-heal slot. All right, listen.
It's an anti-heal slot.
You just got to do it. It's the anti-heal slot. Curse Tonk, Divine, Brawlers, Contagion, Lernian, options available to you.
Death, taxes, anti-heal. All right.
Yep, that's the 3 things. Getting that tattooed right here. Death, taxes, anti-heal.
That would be sick, honestly.
That would be kind of a banger, I'm not going to lie. I might do that. It's pretty good.
This game has been a banger so far as well. We had some expectations set before us. Some subversions, I feel like, as well, when it comes to what these two teams' game plans have been. Do we see them executing on the vision of those big team fights coming from the Hoonbots and Ares, of the solo picks coming from our friends on Orange? What has been the roadmap we've laid out, and how have they kind of zigzagged off of it?
So, as far as Orange Kiss's gameplay, everything has kind of gone as you would expect. You have a lot of focus on Gold Furies, a lot of focus on these global objectives, rotations over to dual lane, we're feeding Cyclone Spin, and Bobby and Scream kind of move together around through the map. What's a little bit different, Smite 2 Bad Boys, we're not seeing the layering that I was initially looking for. Hopefully they're able to kind of tighten that down a little bit, just because when you have your Ares and your Hunbots, you're really just trying to bait the tank, trying to see what you can find with that no escape before scooping in with that Fear No Evil. Fire Giant down to less than half. Aurora, no Sunder, but he's walking up.
Let's see if they can try to get a really cheeky steal. They do have that damage at the very least that they're capable of, but a lamp is going to instantly ensure you can't even apply it. Do you win the 1v1? Doesn't matter. You get the FG buff, and now you're a bit more empowered to step back up and take another crack at that area. Maybe with the help of all your friends. Walled back in. You're not getting out, buddy. No escape for you. Fine, okay. Unstoppable gets the kill.
It does look like there's a little bit of anti-heal being built by Smite 2 Bad Boys. At this stage, you do see the Venom from Moswall. So maybe now we'll be able to deal with Fino K's sustain, but 7-0-7. It did not happen soon enough. Orange Kiss have propelled themselves to this 25-minute mark. Now that they have FG, we can start looking at other objectives or just start walking it down. You still don't have a Talisman of Purification, and I don't think Inbound's going to pick one up because, like you were saying before, the layering of these ultimates, of forcing away these resources, has just not been there from Smite 2 Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Large in part because Orange Kiss already has CC immune ultimates and beads. So it's just very hard to actually force something out until you get something like a lot of cooldown online or something along those lines. And again, we're suffering from the fact that there's only one frontline tank for Smite 2 Bad Boys. The Wukong has confirmed it's all full int. So yeah, you do a lot of damage, but your Ares goes down like this, and then what, you know?
No escape, instantly immune by one and beads by the other. Has that dagger as well, will be able to walk right through that Fear No Evil without an issue, thanks to a well-timed Bari ult as well for added security. All that poke's going to be sustained back up by the Fire Giant buff, and around the back goes the Pele, trying to cause distraction, but the rest of the team's got to join hands. Scream steps up, finds good poke on the on-her. Fine, okay, still in good spirits and good health. You need more anti-heal for that. It's a leap on over to try to finish the job, and the Volcanic Lightning gets blocked out. Joining the fray is going to be the rest of the team. Scream, gonna make you silence. Twig goes down first. The wall's off the mark, that's A-okay. Settles for a freeze on top of Aurora instead. The Bacon's going to have to go back home, though, as they use a Cersei's Hexstone to escape. Inbound, turns back, can't tank any longer. That left bird, though, is going to be toast.
It is super scary to see a Pele and an Aladdin diving on top of you, especially when that Pele cannot die, right? Like, it's just terrifying. Orange Kiss has their front covered, they've got their back covered. You know, when it comes to that sword and spear, it is super hard to deal with Final K and Scream as they're going on top of your backline. Smite 2 Bad Boys, you would think that they have ways around it, but it feels like they just kind of die, right? They have to try to force some kind of false isolation in order to actually kill somebody. Scream's going in, and he's dead.
And is dying first to start. That Storm Call is absolutely massive. You can't lamp me if I'm CC immune. Tier 2 will go down in the mid, and Orange Kiss don't seem to really want to push their luck any further because that two-man dive is no longer possible. So instead they decide to just melt back into the jungle, having done enough damage already. Having the best Phoenix taken down ensures that that next FG play is going to be all that much easier. And maybe even an Ancient Fury to boot. But Inbound's got to get back to safety quick because there's still danger lurking around in the jungle.
Also, I want to point out for Cyclone Spin, they do have that Magi's Blessing there too. So as we talk about how do you take away resources, it's just another layer of defense for the squishies. Orange Kiss have a crazy amount of redundancy.
Some good freezes already. CC you want to see Aurora applying is instead being dished right back out by this Ymir. The flames can start to melt through all those shirts, but clearly he doesn't care how hot he is with all those extra layers he's got on. Ancient Fury picked up here by Orange Kiss. My two Bad Boys have to make the very difficult decision of whether or not they want to try to push this. Bari is not present, worth noting, and would have to try to reset to get back in here. Can they get enough of a bluff to bluster their way through this objective is the question. FineOK not zoning quite the best you can hope for. Remikami
got it.
Takes it for the Smite 2 bad boys, and now might be Twig who goes back. It's just compensation. Inbound takes their life with a Glacial Strike. It's a no escape in the backline. Inbound maybe stepped up a bit too far for their own good. The rest of the team's looking for the on her. A great impale gives them a bit more space before Aladdin tries to give chase. Rudolph takes down one before going down at FineOK's hands. Remikami slams down on top of Scream. It's a beans to escape. Shock's trying to back them up with the Thunder Strike, but the storm's a bit too fierce. Remikami exploded by the shards of ice before Inbound goes down and just straight. A shutdown from Mosswall. An axe swing for FineOK. It's a double and a great play by the mid.
You have to imagine that if Cyclone was here for this fight, it would have gone so incredibly different for Orange Kiss, but Smite 2 bad boys capitalized on the fact that one of the big damage dealers for Orange Kiss was just not present in that fight. Not only do they take away the Ancient Gold Fury, they're able to wipe the board, they get some more gold back in their pockets. Does this help the fact that your Phoenix is still dead? Not really. Fire Giant is still respawning. That's an issue. However, you show up. It's a mental boon. You go, cool, we can kill them. This is doable. We can try to get some more levels for ourselves. We can try to get some more gold. This helps us for our next fight. We're down. We're not out. We just have to know how to play around it, right? If baiting the tank doesn't work, if we can't peel resources, we just pool it all into one go, right? Moswell just looks for damage. Twig just looks for damage. We all just look for damage, and they do a lot of it because everybody is building full damage minus a roar, right? And now you've got yourself a Pyromancer bomb in your back pocket for Smite 2 bad boys to clear that up. That gives you a little bit of potential. Your left side Phoenix is actually respawning soon. So Orange Kiss have to come back at this with a new, fresh mind. You can't screw around too much anymore. This is late game. The playing field has evened out. So FineOK and Scream, when they dive on top of that backline, when they're being that menace, you have to be a little bit more careful. You, in turn, could get absolutely exploded on.
Sun Wukong able to make the quick TP back over to reunite with the rest of the team. So the boon of Cyclone Spin not being on their side in the prior engagement will not be returned back to Orange Kiss this time around. It's a 5v5 fair fight. At the very least this time you do have Cyclone Spin. Turns out it doesn't matter if you don't ban the Bari as long as she's not present for the actual battle to come. 31 minutes here, 24-15, but it's all the more close than you might expect. Some poke being applied and the wall nearly cuts off the Sun Wukong. But FineOK has to weather the rains, nearly extinguishes that fire, drops him down to half. All that's sustained, though, comes back clutches now. Orange Kiss can stay in the fight for a bit.
Really love the fact that Smite 2 bad boys have a lot of anti-health items, because FineOK has a fair amount of health in their build between things like Phoenix Shield and Void Shield, I believe, has health attached to it, but Inbound has a crazy amount of health attached to his build. So being able to poke out Orange Kiss becomes really important, getting those Heartseeker procs. Oh, Twig jumped off.
Trouble. Sultan's Grace didn't actually find the damage on the dash, which is unfortunate. Could have been a really good amount of poke, whereas now it's just a moderate amount, but we'll still take it. And if you try to find that lamp, it could result in good things. Somersault's already been expended, but Scream's keeping that lamp for a rainy day. Wants to save it for the indicated moment during the team fight to come, knowing that FG rests on the line and potentially the entire best of one game. Your Smite Prime bracket with it. Inbound in trouble, cut off by the pillar, but knows their way around the geography manipulation, steps back. FineOK, once again in that flanking position, but the rest of the team is not with you. Take a quick wind sprite back to safety and regroup.
The more that I think about it, the more it does feel like the poke game benefits Smite 2 bad boys a lot here. Think about how far Remy Kami's cudgel is going to be able to hit you from, right?
True.
It's annoyingly long. Like, you get hit from it from the other side of the lane, you're like, ow, why am I taking Soul Reaver procs? What is this? And then Sun Wukong on the other side is like, and you're like, all right, cool, thanks, man. But same deal, too, with Moswell. Throws out the axe, pings you with the rain, walks away. He only needs the one tick to get his Heartseeker and his Crusher proc. That's all he wants. He's just trying to do a little bit of tip, take you away bit by bit. Whereas Orange Kiss doesn't have a lot of sustain in their comp, aside from FineOK, but his sustain comes from actively fighting you, right? That active engage. So if you can poke them out and try to play around with their health bars instead of things like beads and everything like that, that's when the damage play really just comes in clutch. you're just trying to kill them. Death is the strongest CC in the game. You can't beat that one. So poke them out, play the long game, play it patient, wait for Bobby to inevitably walk up and try to find something, because that's what he does. Catch him out, blow him up, and then try to find the fight from there.
Left side Phoenix is fully back up, which means my two bad boys now can take this fight without any worries about what their base might result in. Look at all the resources, all relics available, all ultimates available. It's all going to come down to technicals. But left side, you see Scream's actually maybe trying to make you worry a bit more about that base. Potentially looking for the split push option to cause the waves to pour in to that left bird and forcing Smite 2 bad boys with the difficult decision. Do we decide to let that FG rip, considering that Cyclone Spin wants to get scrappy, wants to get into a fight? But you make the great point that Smite 2 bad boys can't afford to play the long game, and you saw it earlier. Mikami hits the Staff Slam, immediately Falcon forms out because they do not want a sustained battle.
I mean, if you want to talk about split pushers, you got to talk about Scream. Whenever a game goes on too long, Scream will just push a Phoenix. He'll push a Phoenix and then leave. So that's why Twig is going to be around this side here, looking for that 1v1 or a 1v2, because Final Key's here. Now we're all pooling around this left side. Smite 2 bad boys have abandoned the Fire Giant. Final K is looking for a fight.
Mosswall eats a bit of poke there, but those spears poking off a lot harder. Aurora has to Cersei's Hexstone back to safety. The Blizzard's off the mark, though, which means Benny Q can't find the kill. Final K in the fight, but do you want to be in this one? It's a 3v1. The odds are not favoring you. They agree. A Volcanic Lightning to dash back to safety. Sun Wukong forced to use their ultimate as well, as the clone caused a bit more trouble in the backline. Inbound, decides to turn back. Not worth the poke they sustain. Thanks to that rocket jump, they'll get back safe.
So we're going to take a look at the Pyromancer. That was a weird skirmish. Smite 2 bad boys react to the movement from Scream, see if they can find something. Pyromancer's falling down low. There's the Cudgel, though, so Cyclone Spin confirms that Pyro. Puts a little bit of more pressure on that left side Phoenix if Scream decides to push up those minions again. And we are dispersing, resetting, spending some well-earned gold. We're going to start looking at 3K pots, getting some wards, try to find whatever information we can. It's kind of like a stalemate at this point, but one that I feel could very well benefit Orange Kiss, just because you have Scream that's going to go off, look at that Phoenix, because that's what he does. If he gets a kill, if somebody tries to come over there and stop him and he wins a fight, that spells a significant amount of doom for Smite 2 bad boys, unless they're able to just find, isolate Benny Q, kill Cyclone Spin, and then turn around on top of him down and find okay. I mean, they just have to go onto the backline before Orange Kiss goes onto there, I feel.
I think they really want to pull Twig away from the fight is the general idea. But Twig will not be dissuaded. See Scream marching down. It's okay. You don't have the Monkey God with you right now. One's going to fall off and bump their head as Sun Wukong is already dead. Even before Twig could arrive to the fight, was stuck between indecision. Do I try to cut off Scream or do I rejoin the team fight? Indecision is still a decision. Inaction is still action. And unfortunately, it costs you your solo.
I mean, Twig is here now to try to fight Scream, but Scream's just going to wall run and go in?
Oh, so much damage there. The lamp right past that Fear No Evil. You got nothing left, and I got a genie on my side. Snaps Twig in half like the brittle bug they are, and looks for that left side bird. Orange Kiss looking for that FG. Smite 2 bad boys not sure what to do. They're in disarray. They're discombobulated. They're just stuck watching on the sidelines as it's whittled down to half health. Aurora, the one front line is present. Dak dashes away from the freeze, so that CC is going to be offline. Meanwhile, mid-bird still go down thanks to Scream. The Shards of Ice charge up, and it might be inbound going out first. Moswall decides to make their entrance, but the pillar blocks them from approaching with a storm call. It's okay. Benny Q still gets swept up. Fine, okay. Moves past and bats Rudolph back into base. Cyclone Spin decides to take their leave from the fight, leaving inbound to their own devices. Those shirts won't protect you forever. A double kill for Shock.
I mean, at this point, bye, Aurora. I'll miss you. That was... you zigged when you should have zagged. Tragically there. Bit of a checkmate scenario between Scream and Fine Okay. But that's what I was talking about, right? If Orange Kiss finds a kill... I initially said finds a kill on the left side, right? When Twig tries to go over to Scream. If Scream gets the kill there, it's huge for Orange Kiss. They're definitely going to win the fight. No, instead, Orange Kiss with a crazy wall from inbound cuts off Remikami and deletes the Sun Wukong. They're not a tank. There is one tank for Smite 2 Bad Boys. It is a Roar, right? Remakami has to be careful. You can't step up like you have a big health bar. Yes, you're there to poke. Yes, you're there to try to get some damage off, but you die very quickly from this Orange Kiss composition.
Steal this.
Don't do it.
You dare let Scream steal this. We've seen
6K?
This happen once with the Naga before. Charging up that Kufik Invocation. We're just looking for damage, trying to reposition
17.
to find the double proc, but it's a Monkey Somersault back to safety. The Lamp is the response,
it.
gives all the health they need right back. No one's a tank, which means they're going to die, but Twig will shut them down with the slam of their staff. And they're going to be able to get that Ancient Fury right afterwards. It's a 1-for-1 trade. You take down the threat, and you grab yourself an Ancient Fury. What does that mean Orange Kiss are going to be up to? We're going back for that FG.
It's really unfortunate that Moswell is the one that dies there just because the shock was doing so much damage. 57k for Smite 2 Bad Boys. That's a big backbone gone. This Fire Giant is almost dead. Final K confirms it. Now Orange Kiss are going to look for an engage, or might just be looking for a back here because Smite 2 Bad Boys don't really walk up to it. They're like, we don't want to play that game. But jeez Louise, I thought I was going to see Scream get a double kill back-to-back. When I saw that Pendulum Blade pop, I was like, there's no way. Don't do this to me. That's not fair.
Yeah. It's been pretty disgusting to watch this Aladdin go to work, and that's exactly what we called out the first time we saw this comp come together. It's the idea of, once again, split solo fights. You want to try to pull away the Hoonbots, because that means there's even less to fear. No Talisman is no problem if the Hoonbots isn't present for the greater 5v5, because it's not going to be a 5v5. It's going to be a series of 3 1v1s. But I will say, Smite 2 Bad Boys have seen a star rise from this grim, unfortunate backpedaling they've found themselves into. And that's Mosswall for me. I think the shock has really shown out.
He does so much damage, and the poke potential there too. Like, if you just throw the axe out, you throw out the rain, you start getting some tick damage off. It only takes 1 tick to start getting some value there. And then the ultimate does a crazy amount of damage. He can catch somebody out, like Inbound, who's taking a bit of poke here, but not too threatened. Scream's going to push up on that left side. Orange Kiss are looking for their opportunity to end this game. Smite 2 Bad Boys have got to use their ults defensively. I mean, fear no evil, no escape. You have to try to make sure that if you do land it, you have to get crazy value, which, again, is still so hard because there's so many beads in CC Immune Ultimates. Orange Kiss feels so comfortable.
Oh, no, Remakami! Fine, okay, has so much healing in pocket and has a dagger as well. This cat's got 9 lives. Now could be trouble for Moswall as well as this cat. No 9 lives for you. Daggers pop, Pele's back up, and no escape is already used. Remakami will fall. Next, Scream's up over the wall. You're down in the grave, 6 feet under. Double kill for Scream, but Aurora answers back. Moswall with a massive storm call shatters the silence and instantly defends the Titan with 1 sweep of the axe. 3 lives. Hewed to the ground. Orange Kiss can't take the Titan today.
I mean, you get the left side Phoenix, you're going to get the mid Phoenix, pour minions into that fountain, but what a crazy ult from Moswell. The shock does a ridiculous amount of damage. Orange Kiss is still sticking around the area. Are they debating an end call?
Just Bari and Inbound. I don't know how many shirts you still got in pocket, but you're going to need to donate some to your friend, the Bari, to ensure they stay safe as well, especially with Mosswall lurking. This is where that poke is all the more threatening, but they're starting to tack up the damage on top of that Titan instead, trying to bait Aurora into a further fight. The Torrent forward, gets some decent poke off on both of the dual laners of Orange Kiss, and they decide wisely to begin their backpedal away. Even if the shackles get applied, that rocket jump still can be used to escape. They stall off that approach of the Cersei Sexton with a fantastic wall, but now the Bari's shackled up. Forces the areas to get pushed back. Dodges Thunderstrike, but the Storm's still calling for you. Dodges the Shards of Ice. The Bari ult on top. Moswall's already been swallowed up by the damage output by this carry. Cyclone Spin, not going to die today.
I mean, jeez, you saw how much damage that Bari took from the ult from Moswell there. That was kind of ridiculous, but Cyclone Spin turns it around on top of them and answers back. What this does, too, is it staggers the death for Moswell. You got about 50 seconds to play with here. If Orange Kiss can move forward, if they can find more picks, stagger more deaths, that's how they can really start to look at that enemy fountain.
Because that FG buff still applied to the dual lane, they can just heal back from all that poke. That regen becomes all the more important. Only up for 13 more seconds, though. You really want to try to force the fight while you still have that advantage. Mosswell up in 30. Let's see if we can take down Aurora in that short amount of time.
The one tank.
Already having to force out the beads. Going to be trouble for Aurora. Gets walled off. No escape for you, buddy. Neither for Imakami. Scream on the sidelines takes them down. Thunder Arc supply to 3 members, and Aurora finally goes down amidst flames. Inbound.
There it is.
Takes down the kitty cat once more, and only Twig remains to be snapped. Inside the lamp, it shall happen. Off screen, it was too violent to show the kids at home. D aside for Orange Kiss. They'll take the Titan. They'll move on.
I mean, it was crazy
Tense.
all around this game. Tense is a great word for it. Orange Kiss was kind of on their game today, all the way from the start with that Gold Fury play, Scream going nuts with Aladdin. Bari got through again. I think we all learned our lesson this time for real.
Stop, guys.
Stop
like,
with it.
What is it? Fool me once, like shame on
Shame on
me.
you.
But fool me twice, like just ban her, as the old adage goes. Nonetheless, it was a fantastic game all the way through. Despite being the 7th seed leading up to the 2nd, I think we saw some fantastic plays from the opposition. Unfortunately, Smite 2 bad boys, a bit too bad for this school. They get expelled from the bracket, but we're going to be moving right along, so don't you dare go anywhere. More Smite Prime action after the break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back on to Smite Prime, where the plays are always just so premium and pristine. D-Lo and Musi on the mics, Morton Man, Almighty Eye in the Sky, Jithins, and basically Billy, your men behind the curtain. Musi, we just got to see what some players might have expected as the end result. Orange Kiss do take it. However, not without some speed bumps along the way. Twig and the rest of the gang certainly gave them a run for their money on the Smite 2 bad boys.
It definitely did look like they had Orange Kiss on the ropes for like a couple of engagements. There were some important turnarounds where Mosswell, especially, I was looking at, blew up. I mean, this shock full damage just does so much in a team fight, especially if you're caught unawares. A wonderful tool to be able to swing in on the backside. But it never felt like we were able to see the game plan for Smite 2 Bad Boys executed in a way that we might have assumed it would, right? Where you can kind of bait out a tank, have your Ares, pour some beads, and then have your Hunbats swoop in after the fact. But I really feel like the fact that we just had one frontline tank, a lot of squishy characters, a lot of damage, but just not a great way to lock people down. And that gave Scream mobility. That gave Fine OK mobility to go on top of the backline. Feel like we never had a chance to see Rudolph do anything this game either. 1 and 9, I think, really speaks to the fact that Scream and Fine OK kind of had the number of this on her. And Inbound was always up there, had some great walls, some great freezes, great setup. And of course, you got to talk about how Cyclone Spin had some really solid ults, being able to save their teammates. But more than anything, it was Scream and Fine OK. Diving those backlines, being able to win those 1v1 engagements. It was just so crazy. Like this is what Aladdin does.
This moment right here.
What can
Twig do? This moment right here, I think, decides everything, because it already forces so much pressure on the left side of Phoenix. Then they get the mid-bird as well while the FG fight still continues to go poorly. And it's because there was too much time wasted. Remakami, he had already fallen because of Twig's indecision. And I'm sure that's one of those moments where you're up late at night, looking at your ceiling, just staring, thinking back on all the mistakes you've made across your entire life. That might just be one of them, but I can't blame Twig for it. When you're up against a player like Scream who forces you into these impossible trolley cart situations, it's just a matter of personal philosophy. Unfortunately, it did not win them the day here, and it just might give you one more reason to ban that Aladdin. Also, Cyclone Spin giving you reasons more to ban that Bari too.
I mean, twice now we've seen a Bari get through, and twice now we've seen a Bari win. Correlation might not be causation, but I'm telling you that there is a lot riding on that Bari, especially in the early game. It really felt like Cyclone Spin was able to offer quite a bit in terms of objective pressure and just survivability to their team. There was that ultimate that Mazel was able to let rip. It helped Smite 2 Bad Boys survive just a bit longer, but again, Aurora separated, isolated, Scream dragged Ramakami over to the left side. It was this forced isolation that Orange Kiss was able to employ, that Smite 2 Bad Boys just kind of crumbled underneath that pressure.
we've seen that story now twice, I feel like, where it's one tank versus a pick comp, right? Where it's a bunch of CC abilities versus that pick comp, but never, like you mentioned, both times have we gotten to see that actually come to fruition. So unfortunately, neither shall our friends, let's my two bad boys, come to the next round. Instead, Orange Kiss step up to Baile Inolvidable, and on the other side, it's Clocked In and Kibited Book, where I believe we'll be heading up next, Musi, first seed, up against the fourth.
I'll be very excited to see how Kibited Book does against Paul's team here. If I'm not mistaken, we had a chance to see them last week where Kibited Book was not able to perform as well as they were hoping to, so they get a second crack at it. Right, but you're already in semifinals. Your standings are already looking pretty solid. You're not too upset with getting this far, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't really excited to see how Kibited Book go about this game.
Well, I'm excited to see these P's and B's coming up. I don't know if we can get any better than what we saw last time around for us personally, Musi, but we'll be happy if we just see one god in particular reach that ban screen. But so far, there has been a tale being woven here so far of what people really don't want to see, and that's Sustain. No one wants to see Sustain, and our friends on Clocked In don't want to see Agni.
I mean, Umoja, Aphrodite, definitely worthy bans if you're trying to take away the sustains, but we still have to think about the Kalis of the world, the Ares, the Ulers that we just saw get swooped away there too. I think Susanoo being taken off the board for Tegvir makes a lot of sense. Finally a Bari ban. Thank you. Oh my god. All right, different ADCs this go around. So happy about that. But this still leaves open things like Aladdin, like Neith. There's only one slot left. Are you going to dedicate it to Pele, to Ganesh, Baron Samdi? Where do you want to throw this around, right? Guan Yu, which means all of those picks are up and available for either team to have. And that's a little bit scary. Guess what?
Knew it.
Boom. It's Aladdin. Like, it's a lot.
No surprise. And that's probably going... That could go to Paul. That very well could go to Paul.
It could, yes. 100%.
There's a massive possibility, which stinks because normally Aladdin, you don't want to have such a threatening pick be a flex pick. That just further doubles how scary things are. We know Paul loves to play the Pele. We know Paul loves to play the Aladdin. These burst assassins that can also play from range thanks to one or two abilities in their kit that allow them to clear at distance too. Kufik Invocation is ridiculous. I will say it once. I'll say it a million times. What's available for Kibited Book? The other side of the spectrum. They pick up the Pele for themselves. And alongside Umoja.
I really enjoy the fact that they have the Pele there because that means that Clocked In can't have both the Pele and the Aladdin for like a double dive type of scenario. Although, if you're looking for characters that can play with your Aladdin, you still have things open like a Hunbots, a Thor. I feel would be good to have more dive potential so that your Aladdin can really just cause havoc in the backline. Although now, you're already looking at Kibited Book's comp. You have a Pele and Umoja. This already says to me, maybe we're looking for more of a front-to-back composition. Umoja very much speaks to me as a backline support that maybe offers a little bit when they walk up here. So there's the Thor being hovered for Clocked In that I saw, but the Jingwei, she's safe. That's most of what I got for Jingwei. I don't think she stacks up as well as some of the other hunters, but she stays alive. And honestly, at the end of the day, that's what you want your ADC to do.
I wonder if this is maybe too far out there with the Pele already being locked in. It could potentially go mid and you grab it a Wheelix. Honestly, likely not going to be the case, though, with that Merlin. A Wheelix has not been super present in the meta, but I do love when it shuts down an Aladdin just because all of a sudden your wall run, your disengage, your engage become completely unavailable to you alongside potentially shutting down Jingwei. That's neither here nor there, though. Let's talk about what we do see. It's a Merlin and an Artemis for your backline.
So between Umoja and Artemis, Kibited Book have crazy safety for their backline. You have Caledonian Boar, you have a Reverse Rebuke, you've got Sustain in your kit. So if Kibited Book can find one more god here that really helps them in terms of poking people out, a front line, a real front line with defense and health stats so that you can have your Pele, your solo laner kind of dive on top of that back line. And then Merlin, Umoja, and Artemis just sit back with each other and say, cool, we can peel for ourselves. We can burst anybody down who gets too close to us. We're going to let Pele and whoever else walk up and do what they want to do, like a Mordred. Sun Wukong tank isn't the best. I mean, a shock tank I think still has a lot of relevancy. We just see so much of the damage tank, or the damage shock.
This is super interesting what we're seeing here from Clocked In. Kabrak and Apollo being locked in alongside that Thor and Aladdin means that, in my eyes, that's Aladdin mid. I think Paul's taking the Aladdin mid for sure, but where do you see the rest of them going?
There's a lot of flexing here. Jingwei,
Apollo
ADC.
support?
That's probably what it is. I think Apollo support is on the money from you. I agree, because you have Arrow's bow, you've got the aspect. You are also able to take a look at Gold Fury pretty soon because you've got a Jingwei plus an Apollo, so you're able to kind of shred through objectives with your sustained damage. Thor in the jungle, I think, offers quite a bit in terms of dunk potential. There's that Mordred for Kibbeted Book. I really like that. So Pele and Mordred can really harass the backline, pursue the weak. And the Volcanic Lightning from Pele. Like, you have to be careful if you are this Apollo Jingwei. Well, how careful do you have to be? Who cares if they get jumped on? Jingwei's going to ult away or dash away. Apollo can mez you and dash away. Aladdin's not in their backline, they're in your backline. So you're like, all right, well, where am I taking all this? Feels like Clocked In, both of the teams have really solid team comps, but Clocked In teams comp feels a bit more handled, built to deal with the Kibbeted Book comp here. Just because the way that they're playing, they're so forward tilting, they're bringing the fight to Kibbeted Book as opposed to letting themselves get jumped on by this Pele Mordred. Textbook stuff from Kibbeted Book, but Clocked In has a little bit of spice sprinkled in here with a lot of CC and a lot of damage.
Well, we're going to find out shortly as we hop into game with all 10 players. Will Clocked In get clocked in the face and back out of the race? We'll see right here. D-Lo and Musi on the mic once again. Morton Man, Almighty Eye in the sky. Musi, get a chance to take a survey of the map. Do things go with our expectations?
So, it's a little different from what I thought. However, I just noticed the fact that Jithin's pictures for the production staff is a little picture of baby Jithins. That's crazy. That's adorable. Shoutouts Jithins. Anyways.
Shoutouts.
Apollo in the jungle brings quite a bit to the table. They don't have aspect. So what you do have is, instead of like the tanky Apollo, you have a lot of global presence and a lot of objective priority, because you can eat a Gold Fury alive, eat a Pyromancer alive. Queen Naga is something that I really think Clocked In should be looked at on cooldown, just because that's another one of those slept on objectives. It's so much gold. You get the little Naga guys. Tempo is fine. Poked out. He's going to have to take a trip back to the fountain. And then because you have the Thor over in the solo lane, it's another character who can still dive in with Paul. So now Karmic and Paul are just going to be dropping on top of this backline. Briz has to stay extra careful, and Donut Doug needs to make sure that they hold on to a Caledonian Boar, because they're just going to be harassed constantly. I imagine Tempo is also going to want to walk up there with Karmic and Paul. They just lack the mobility to actually get there quickly. So when it comes to teamfights, Clocked In is probably going to try to bait Tempo a bit, try to use Tempo to force out some escapes, some relics, and then Karmic and Paul are going to be able to dive in there. It's a 3-stage dive composition from Clocked In, very classic styling.
I'm looking for Donut Dog to really be careful with where they place those boards, because like you mentioned, you can just disengage so easily with Clocked In. Clocked In kind of stand you up on the coffee date. They say, yeah, I'm going to fight you, and then they put you in a lamp. Then they fly up in the sky with Airstrike. Then they fly up in the sky with Chariot or Anvil of Dawn. There's so many ways to disengage into a re-engage that if Kibbeted Book don't keep their get out of jail free cards in pocket, they're going to quickly find themselves out of resource and out of life. But if you're these junglers, Musi, where do you want to see that pressure allocated first?
So for the most part, it feels like dual lane is the place to be in Smite 2 right now. Gold Fury is such an important objective, and these supports feel kind of killable because they're forced to pick up the Sunder. That makes them very susceptible to CC. It makes it so that you can just kind of lock them down and burn them out. Plus, Donut Doug doesn't really have an escape to get away from Tagveer if Tagveer is able to chase after them. So if you can force out a Caledonian Boar, maybe make sure the trap's gone, then that's going to be your opportunity to lock them down.
Karmic nearly biting it there up against their opposition Snatty. First time we got to see a Mordred here today at all. Thor as well, so it's nice to get a bit more variety. Once you ban the Bari, everything really starts to lighten up. Sunshine and roses all across the map. Musi, this is a matchup you're probably pretty familiar with. What are we going to see here in the solo?
So Snatty should just be running at Karmic for the most part. This Mordred has a crazy amount of pressure in lane, especially once they get things like a Phoenix Shield or even like a Glad Shield online as well, paired with that just to stack on the damage. Going after this blue makes a lot of sense, but did you bite off more than you could chew?
Well, you have Pele in the backline to back you up, and a blue buff around your waist to provide a bit more ability tankage. Nonetheless, they're just going to take their spoils of war and retreat on back into the jungle. So, Kibitid Book making sure to already try to leverage that solo lane pressure, like you mentioned. Duo being left to their own devices for a bit. What I'm looking forward to is seeing Clocked In utilize those global ultimates to their best. But you don't have that ultimate yet, which means Pele can try to take you down. Knocked up and brought down to 0. First blood goes in the pocket of Valo and Kibitid Book.
Kibitid Book as a team really does want to put Snatty above all. Mordred is very powerful in lane. You want to get him up to his ultimate as soon as possible so he can just ult Karmic on cooldown, but also you need to make sure that this Mordred stays ahead of the Thor. Mordred from behind feels really, really bad. It's not nearly as good as a Mordred, even worse, a Mordred from behind, because he will engage, he will look for that Pursue the Weak, but then after you land that ultimate, you just kind of die, right? You need to be able to have the gold, the health, the levels to be able to say, cool, I can go in, I can hit this ultimate, I can brawl for a little bit, I can leave, right? I'm going to repeat that ad nauseum. But without that lead, you kind of just get blown up because Karmic looks at you and goes, why are you touching me? Who are you? Who invited this guy, right? Get out of my house. So you kind of have to trust that Donut Doug is going to perform as Artemis, which if Donut Doug plays anything like they played last week will be more than fine for Kibitid Book. You can put those resources in the solo lane for a bit, but when the Gold Fury respawns, start supporting Donut Doug, start setting up for those early objectives so you can really start that snowball.
Seems that Cavs recognize that Donut Dog is quite the threat to take on. Tectonic Shift instantly forces quite a lot of damage on top. The board going to be evaded by that amazing airstrike, but that could be enough from the Mending Waters to save them. One more auto. Fantastic body blocks come out from Kuradal. No death just yet.
I mean, while Jingwei was able to soar above Kuradal, this Umoja offers a ton of sustain for Kibitid Book. It's going to be increasingly relevant as the game goes on, especially towards like Fire Giant dances and everything like that. You can expect that Kuradal is going to be keeping their team sustain bit by bit. Anti-heal is going to be a must-have for Clocked In, because not only do you have this Umoja, Val is running on this Pele, who has a crazy amount of sustain in her kit as well. The sooner Clocked In acknowledges that and gets that up, Mordred too, Phoenix Shield, it's there. Uh-oh, Tempo is leaving.
Could maybe use that sustain themselves. Kuradal's going to be the one to take the kill, but Vala was the real one dishing out the damage. And this is what happens when you don't have that Phantom Shell on your support. It's borne by the Thor, which means you can't escape the River's Rebuke, and you're going to drown.
And Kabrakan is somebody that just does not deal with walls particularly well, which is funny to think about because they are an employer of walls. You would imagine that if you can use walls, you can, you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, man. Hydrogen has to ult to get away from this Umoja ult, but beyond that, again, Jingwei is able to survive, is able to live. That's like one of the things that she does best, such a slippery character. But because these supports are forced to go sunder, you're 100% right. The River's Rebuke comes up, and all of a sudden Tempo's like, well, I am a little stuck. I can't really go too far. It does work the same, though, with Kuradal. If Tegvir is able to make that rotation over, if Tempo is able to jump on top of this Umoja, that CC stacks up really quickly, and you should be able to lock them down just by the simple fact that they don't have a real answer to the CC until they have something like a Talisman of Purification. Oh yeah, welcome to
Mordred, what the heck just happened? What evaporated a quarter of his health bar?
So Snatty hit him with the third ability. He hammered out, and then all that damage happened at once because its damage is relative to how far you run away.
Well, now it's going to be more deaths brought here on the left side as we just keep the party on rolling. Donut Dog dies outside the lamp, and inside it doesn't fare too much better for Kibitid Book. Tegvir makes the rotation with the chariot just in time to get the kill on top of Kuradal.
So while Snatty gets that solo kill, Clocked In rally over on this left side. They want to try to find a Gold Fury.
All gonna look for Valo, but maybe not the best matchup. No lamp left, but does make a wish for power. It's gonna be enough too. The Aegis back to safety, and Hydrogen takes down the Flame God. Now it's Merlin hip-hopping their way, but there's not too much to jump for joy about. As Clocked In respond with a lightning-fast 3 kills. No Fury now, but that's A-okay.
In Kibitid Book, we're able to put Paul low enough and dissuade Clocked In for looking for anything more. But as a general rule, like you said, Clocked In aren't too unhappy about the way that trade goes. And it does kind of give a peek into what Clocked In are capable of with this composition. You just jump, dogpile on top of somebody, right? and they just kind of die. They get completely boomed. I really like this pull for the Queen Naga as well. Like I was saying before, Tagveer on this Apollo should be able to burn through these objectives pretty quickly, and these are the little victories that'll help Clocked In kind of overtake Kibited Book in terms of gold. Also with the little Nagas, you can start looking at Gold Fury. Tagveer could potentially not solo one, but only with minor help be able to take it off the board.
8 minutes, 3-3 reads the scoreboard. With that Naga in pocket, the goal's just about even. Clocked In, doing a good job playing the macro game. Even if you can't find the big objectives, we still go for the small stuff. If you look across the map, though, the pressure is very interesting because it feels like with that last fight, Clocked In certainly have got it locked down on this duo side, but on the solo, it's all Snatty all day.
And Snatty's got 2 levels up over Karmic at this point. So now the big win for Kibited Book is how soon can we get Snatty rotating out of this duo lane? Uh-oh, Karmic's gonna die again?
Beads going to be able to immune that stun. Now Karmic in trouble. Tagveer, though, keeps the fight ongoing, drops the Nagas for a bit of assistance, and Aladdin provides even more so. Locked inside the lamp, Snatty's got nowhere to do donuts inside the Thunderdome, knocked up and brought down. Paul shuts down the table breaker.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Solid kill there so far. That's what you really wanted to see, especially considering that Snatty was really the big threat. Just like you highlighted, Musi, you wanted to see that Mordred go down in just that moment. So Clocked In, now with that kill, have also leveraged a bit more gold lead for themselves, as well as the pressure, momentum far more in their favor, and the entire map begins to go in their side. So hopefully we can see Paul and the rest of the gang just continue to rotate like that. I love the fact that we're using these global ultimates properly, and also, even just as Paul, no global ultimate, but plenty of mobility to quickly reach either side of the map as needed.
I mean, it is something that Kibited Book has to keep in mind, the fact that this Clocked In team can be everywhere all at once when you have that Uber driver to kind of drop you off wherever your little heart desires. You're like, get in the car, we're going shopping, right? We're picking up a couple of kills on top of Snatty. And what's really helpful, too, for Karmic there is because Snatty gets eliminated, you do alleviate some pressure in the solo lane. But this Gold Fury...
Oh, no, he
dead.
can't swim!
Oh,
Jin's got to give him some swimming lessons
heavy.
there, buddy.
He sinks
Jin's
like
got to
a
give him
rock.
some swimming lessons. Give him some water wings, a life vest, perhaps, and give it a book. Do a fantastic job leveraging that snowball into an instant Gold Fury. You find the kill right in the pit, and we'll stick around for a bit longer. First objective goes down the side of Chaos.
So not quite what we expected when it comes to like who was going to get that first Gold Fury. And we were sitting here thinking, well, you've got this Apollo, you've got Hydrogen with the Jing Wei. Surely you're able to take a look at Gold Fury before anybody else. But Kibited Book just kind of recognize, all right, Clocked In isn't really in a position to contest us right now. That gives us the opportunity just to lay into this Gold Fury and scoop up some of that global gold for ourselves, which is an important pickup for Kibited Book because solo lane is going so well for Snatty already. Yeah, you took a tumble, but it's not too bad. But you have to try to find a way to keep up with Paul. Keep up with Paul and keep up with Tagveer, the way that they're just so willing to show up to fights all around the map. Global gold in your pocket is going to be the one thing that really helps get you there. Get up base a little bit faster, try to contest with that Jing Wei passive, and then just make sure that you stay on top of it and don't fall too far behind. You're a little bit ahead. You want to maintain that lead. Don't let Clocked In take that away from you.
Now, we've seen so far these two kinds of teams face off against each other before. It's been the team fight versus the solo pickers. Clocked In want to try to keep you separated, but Kibited Book now have a difference maker. They have 2 front lines. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens once Snatty starts to make their rotations known, gets their presence a bit more spread across the map. Right now they're content to leverage this 1.5 level lead they have up against Karmic, but then the question becomes, once you rotate out as the Mordred, does Karmic decide to follow? Right now, they decide to follow their own path up into the sky, trying to escape all that damage that gosh darn Mordred outputs, and snag a quick little blue buff for yourself.
I want to point out, Clocked In already have a fair amount of anti-heal being built up right now. You see a few Venoms being picked up, so that's going to be helpful for all the Sustainers. Try to take down, there's the lamp.
Great beads there from the Merlin to ensure safety, and now you're going to have to get yourself back to safety.
Power.
Use that wish for power to instantly climb up the walls, dish them out, can't take them. Gotta find that kill quickly before the tempo goes against you. Briz will get the counter kill, so both supports will fall as well. Or actually, rather, no, it was Valo is instead the one who gets extinguished beneath the rocking waves. At least Kuradal stays alive.
Clocked In's happy to take that trade. Trading a support for any other kill, as a general rule, goes pretty well for the person who lost support. Apollo's ulting on top of Donut Doug, though.
Your Uber's here. Heard you wanted a lift. Heard you wanted a board. The beat's right through it. The moves on this guy. The Mez as well, but maybe didn't hold in place for long enough to position for Hydrogen. Got a bit too eager, I think, Tagveer, to use the next auto and break them out from the CC. So Donut Doug stays alive for now.
I mean, Donut Doug, more than alive. Does he look for a kill? No, he's going to back off, go back to farming. I feel like Tagveer there, you have the Sunbeam Bow and the Transcendence, but spending a lot of time in the air drains the mana from your Apollo ult, and then you also use the Sunbeam Bow. Unfortunately, you just didn't have the mana to use any more abilities. Dude, Donut Doug is such a monster. Like,
he's half health.
Half health walking at Hydrogen like, yeah, I can kill you. And Hydrogen's like, I believe you. I'm not gonna step up to you. You are correct. What am I supposed to do, right?
Scary stuff there from the Artemis, and it's like you mentioned, if Donut Doug's able to execute at the level we expect, it's a very scary thing for Clocked, and I think that's always one of the key response gods to any sort of dive engagement. And there's a lot of committal between an Aladdin and this Kabrakan. They really can't go in 50%. They got to go in all the way. That's not gone well for Tempo before. It's a great double Mez, though, that lines them up for the stun. And the damage from Paul as well. The Lamp is going to find the Pele. Let's see if they can find the kill right after. Volcanic Lightning inside. The Genie begins to smack on down. Up from the top ropes. Dropped on down. It's a Swanton Bomb. Valo's dead from it.
Looks like Kuradal also takes a bit of a tumble here. Right on time, Gold Fury is here and available. Karmic has made the rotation as well. Nobody from Coveted Book. If they're aware, they should know they have vision, but they can't do too much about it. As Gold Fury is confirmed by Clocked In, they'll have their first one of the game. And this composition from Clocked In, the fact that it has the ability to just run at you, right? Tempo gets a stun, that's all it takes. And again, harkening back to what we were talking about before, Kuradal is especially vulnerable to getting run at by a Kabrakan. You hit the first stun, you're guaranteed to hit the next stun that Kabrakan has if you have like purple and then you go for the auto one. And then you just kind of die. Because Tagveer's got the Mez, there's nothing that Kuradal can do about it because he's got no CC immunity. Same deal too when the time comes with Snatty. Notice that they have a Sunder there instead of a Beads. So that makes these tanks especially vulnerable to the lockdown from Clocked In. If Clocked In can stay ahead in terms of items, get some penetration online, start shredding through them, then it doesn't matter how tanky you are. Snatty and Kuradal are going to be in a really tough position, especially because there's already anti-heal here for Clocked In. Their team fight is already a little bit stymied.
Seeing a potential 2v1 breakout amongst the blue buff, but no, Snatty's going to be able to walk back safely. Looking at the support items, you're right. There's an Ankh built beneath that Kabrakan's belt, and it does seem that Yamoja heard your pleas for CC immunity because the Talisman is seeming to be formed, but not quite just yet. And in the meantime, Clocked In can continue to bully and batter at that bruised support. You try to find the CC, and indeed Tempo is stepping up with Moxie and Gusto. Won't be given their just desserts just yet, though. 16 minutes in, 8-5. Favor of Clocked In. Game's gone back and forth. The gold minorly in favor, nonetheless, of Coveted Book. They've done a good job playing that macro, and they're doing a good job playing this corner, too.
A large part of the reason why Coveted Book is ahead in gold at this point rests on Snatty's shoulders. That lead that they still have over in the solo lane is doing a lot of legwork for the global gold as a whole. The global Donut Doug is getting run at by Karmic. Wind spread out, Karmic's got it back. Not too bad, right? Artemis should be okay. I'm really just waiting for Coveted Book's team fight. When does Snatty get to join? When does Pursue the Weak become a mitigating factor? Yeah, there's Pyromancer and Coveted Book look for the fight.
Here's Snatty! Pursue the Weak going to find the Kabrakan. Busts him up, but can you get the damage right back on down? You can't swim, Snatty, you gotta remember! No, it's Tempo instead who's gonna drown once more. Valo takes them out. And now it could be Hydrogen up next. Airstrikes back to safety. The moment you see Mordred coming, you know that the drum beats of the funeral are going to be shortly following. Pyromancer could very well be a consolation prize for Clocked In. Don't know if you want to take it in their faces, though. It's awfully risky. Karmic is going to be able to grab it, though, for Clocked In, and they quickly need to make a disengage.
Clocked-ins, they're so slippery. All of these gods are so slippery, except for Tempo, which is why I think Tempo keeps dying in these engagements, because what is Kabrakan gonna do to run away, right? Like you said before, they're all in. It's like, I'm gonna fight them and I'm gonna die, right? If I win, awesome. If I lose, that sucks. Whereas the rest of Clocked In is able to say, nah, we don't like this fight, we're gonna hammer out. Nah, we're gonna dash out. Nah, we're gonna wall run. I'm gonna ult away. We don't have to commit to it too hard. Whereas Kibbeted Book's team comp is very much reliant on that level of commitment. Snatty needs to ult in and connect on top of somebody. Vala needs to ult in and connect on top of somebody. If they're not able to stick, that just kind of puts them dead in the water. I feel like that's why Clocked In was able to take that Pyromancer after the fact too. Kibbeted Book puts a lot into taking down Tempo, whereas the rest of Clocked In just kind of like walks away, and then they just say, okay, we're gonna do Pyromancer while you kill our support. It's not a terribly big deal. We can shove you out for just long enough to take a look at the objective. We can take a look at that bigger picture. Whereas Kibbeted Book is relying on Clocked In to committing to these fights, to sticking to it, and they just don't have to. They'll just go.
A lot of disengaged potential from the real threats. I'm looking at that 3-0 Apollo and that 2-0 Aladdin. I'm looking at a second Gold Fury going uncontested to Kibbeted Book, though. Taking advantage of, look at all the vision across the map in favor of Kibbeted Book here. They know exactly where you are. They know exactly what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Pursue the weak to quickly get back to that blue buff, ensure it doesn't go down alongside the tier 1, which is handily grabbed by Karmic. But now you got to try to make your quick exit, because Snatty does not quite like when you take their structures away. At the very least, this does open up the chance for the solos to be present in these fights a bit more often.
I mean, now that your tier 1 tower is gone, you don't really stress about lane too much, but when it comes to who's going to offer more in a team fight, Karmic is behind, but I'm almost expecting a bit more from this Thor than I am from the Mordred, just because Karmic can go into the backline and then just leave, right? He ults in, he throws out some abilities, then he's gone. Kind of like that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
good demonstration.
Yeah, you with the ultimate. There you go. Thanks, Karmic. Looking out for us. But Kibbeted Book are just trying to figure out, how do you get Clocked In to stick around? I think it comes out on top of something like a Fire Giant. A big objective where you force that level of commitment, you make it important enough, because if Clocked In backs out, you just take a look at the FG, you burn it away. Or you can try to catch somebody lacking, try to see if maybe somebody steps out a bit beyond. Kind of like Valo and Snatty are right now. Not a great position. The pincer maneuver begins.
Double taps off the mark, but Mordred's got plenty of mobility, especially to pursue the weak.
Ooh.
Just nimbly manages to sidestep Karmic, who tried to body block it. Not quite thick enough for that just yet, buddy. But at the very least, you don't have to worry about that ultimate in the present fight to come. FG, a bit too risky for us to go off for in this moment in time. Instead, let's go for Donut Dog on the left side. Could be awfully risky for our friend to step up that far. Artemis looking to be in a bit of trouble as they try to get their way back to safety using that movement speed buff. But look at Thor jollily just going to jump at you before that hammer tolls one last time and rings their skull. Karmic with the kill.
This does open up opportunities for Kibbeted Book, though. Looks like Tempo's in a bit of trouble.
Once again, this guy just needs to get a life vest. That's not an item available in the game just yet, but I swear, Swade's got to download it for my bands here. He just cannot get out of the wave pool. Caught in the riptides and not going to see the light of day. Buried at sea once more, but overall, it's a trade you're willing to make. Once again, support for carry, we'll take that any day.
Look at the way that the deaths are split for Clocked In. Tempo's died 5 times. That's
more than half of the deaths.
That's more than half of the deaths for Clocked In. I think it really does speak to the fact of this Kabrakan is kind of a ride or die, but also this Kabrakan is the only one that Clocked In can kill. Or that Kibbeted Book can kill. It's the only one. You can't catch Paul. Look,
bye.
He's gone. He's out. Where's your chase potential? You don't have it, right? Unless you have Snatty ult in as they're leaving, try to have Valo ult in as they're leaving, but Clocked In isn't like interested in that kind of fight. They're gonna throw Tempo at you and say deal with him, and you say, well, I have to, right? Because they're gonna lock down Kuradal, they're gonna try to lock down Briz. We have to try to make sure that our folks are able to stay alive. And then Clocked In goes, cool, all right, your tools are down, we're just gonna leave now.
Yeah,
we're gonna go do an objective. What do you do? Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's so rough because you bait out so much. Like, yeah, I'm using River's Rebuke to kill you every time, but then they don't have River's Rebuke for the backline to stop them from disengaging. So it's brilliant. It's exactly what you asked for from Tempo. You don't care about your slash on as a support. Any good support should recognize dying is all part of the equation, and killing is all that Tegvir's got on their mind. They take a high ride in the sky, deciding who's next on the death note. Can't find any names to write down just yet, so they just do some victory donuts. That's Doug's job, and retreat back to the team to begin the FG.
Transcendence gives you so much mana, especially with that Sunbeam Bow. You get a bunch of extra strength. FG picked up, but Kibit and Book want that fight.
Fight's a bit split. Hydrogen's got to reunite with their friend, the support.
Thor's in the air.
The tectonic shift on one. Thor's in the sky, and the River's Rebuke comes up. Not going to find Kabrakin, which means there's press for fight for a bit longer. Tegvir's in trouble, dashes back in with wanton abandon, and Donut Doug finds vengeance upon the jungle and a big shutdown to boot. Paul lurks around the backside. FG still leashed by Kibit and Book and now dropped down to half. Paul can't hope to do much other than get a bit of extra poke damage numbers. Does get the lamp on top, but that damage being output by the Mordred, now you're feeling it too. Here's Snatty, baby, and Paul's dead.
I mean, Kibit and Book finally find the fight that they're looking for. Down goes Karmic. FG was confirmed by Kibit and Book. Clocked in finally commit to a fight. They are forced to commit to a fight around the FG, and Kibit and Book are able to win it because you cannot run from them. Because this is the moment where they decided not to use their escape tools to get out. They try to use it all to engage. Thor ults in, Hydrogen ults in, Paul dives in, Tegvir's going in. Everybody is going for that W key, and Kibit and Book were ready and waiting for that moment. Finally, they can kill somebody other than Tempo. Not only do they get the FG, not only do they clean up kills, it's a mid-Phoenix. Ancient Gold Fury is being started up by Valo. It'll be the next one on the chopping block. There are 2 tier 2 towers in the side lanes that are ideal targets for this. Clocked in, that's a huge slip up that they went into that fight expecting to get more than they did, but I feel like Kibit and Book had just enough sustain, just enough survivability to eke through it, and then Snatty getting thrown into that lamp, killing Paul. That's a big chunk of damage lost from Clocked in. They're not able to go for anything else.
Ancient Fury picked up by Kibit and Book. Hydrogen secures the Pyro for Clocked in, so at the very least something for your troubles. It's not a coincidence in my mind, Musi, that the one time we see River's Rebuke actually find the backliners, we see the backliners all die. The one time that Tempo is ignored and instead we decide to focus on the real damage-dealing threats, things start to fall in place for Kibit and Book. So Clocked in, unfortunately around the objective fights, just seem like the enemy has their number because, like you mentioned, you have nowhere to go but the pit.
So now you're in this position where you're on the back foot when you were kind of in a position, if you're Clocked in, where you had control of the game for the most part. Where are you going from here? Or maybe not control of the game, but like control of the team fights, control of the tempo, if you will. Hee. You still have a really solid dive comp here. You can still use tempo to bait out abilities. Try to pull escapes from Briz. Try to force beads or a shell from Donut Doug. Use Karmic to go in. Snatty is harassing Karmic, as one does.
Oh, God.
This is the slap fight of the century, by the way. While this is happening, though, left side seems to be where all the aggression is, and Tagvir's caught out.
On the right side, Apollo's battling the Pele as well. Not going to win that fight either. Valo gets the big solo dolo on top of the jungler. River's Rebuke forces the Kraken back out. And the Moonstrike, as well as the walls, going to try to block Snatty's approach. The left bird being left behind on the sacrificial altar. Alongside that mid-Phoenix, all these structures being whittled away. Jingwei takes a quick loop around to survey the destruction and chaos below before dizzyingly returning back to their cap side. That tier 2 on the right is going to be short pickings for Kibit and Book as they look to burn away the last bird and then potentially the Titan.
I mean, Kibit and Book is just finally have locked in. They have them where they want them. They can't squirm away. They can't back up because you got to back off of your Phoenix and go to your Titan room? Where do you retreat from there? Now you have to fight, and that's what Kibit and Book loves to do. Here comes Snatty.
Gonna do some donuts around that Thor. Takes for the sky, whereas Aladdin goes inside the lamp. It's a standoff here. It's one Briz is willing to take. Valo drops Karmic as well, but Immortality is on my side. We're going for the rematch. It's a grudge, baby. Goes around the wall, but has to try to find their way back out to safety. Takes a few sips from their chalice. Might be the last drink you ever have because Valo's coming for you. Paul gets the shutdown. Will not go down that easy. Titan stays up at around half health, but it's whittling down fast. Paul's got to find the reset and get back up, but it's not gonna be enough. Clocked in, get locked out of the bracket. Kibbeted Book, make it happen.
Hey, this is a huge win for Kibbeted Book.
Massive.
Not only were they able to take down Orange Kiss last week, now they're taking out Clocked In. This team is on the up and up. They
upset
can't
Kings.
stop winning. It's going crazy.
That is crazy. Game. Yes, but what did it all stem from, right? Early game, it seems like you mentioned the tempo, clearly in favor of tempo and the rest of the team. What was the edge that they just rode on before everything careened off the cliff?
A Kibbeted Book found Clocked In. They locked them into a fight that they couldn't slip away from, and then they did it consistently fighting them at objectives. It won them the game.
Overall, fantastic work to both teams, but Kibbeted Book, the upset Kings, going to be able to move on to that final slot. Who will be their opponent? Hell if we know. We'll find out, though, in just a bit. Stick around. More Smite Prime after the break. Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to Smite Prime, where we now get to see the pinnacle of our premium plays to decide who moves on to that closed bracket with all of the accolades. D-Lo and Musi here on the mic, Morton Man, Almighty Eye in the Sky, Jithens, and basically Billy, your men behind the curtain. And Musi, again an upset, again performed by Kibbeted Book. They advance from semis to take on an amazing grudge match. I believe it's going to be up against Orange Kiss.
I am super excited for that match, but let's talk a little bit about this one that we just had a chance to see Clocked In and Kibbeted Book. Again, it really did feel like Kibbeted Book was only able to kill tempo in the beginning. It kind of dawned on us at some point through the game. We're like, man, Kibbeted Book have 7 kills. 5 of them are tempo. What in the world is going on? And Clocked In just never had to commit to fights. They were always able to find isolated targets with their Aladdin ult and dogpile on top of this Umoja like we see right here. And any time that anything started to get a little too sketchy, they used tempo as a sacrificial lamb and then get out of dodge. Well, that ended when Kibbeted Book found them on the Fire Giant and said, no, we are fighting. You are not running. I think you put it perfectly. River's Rebuke was used to lock down the backlines. And once that happened, those squishies started to die.
That's all we needed to see is that Tempo was just that big, burly beefhead who takes all the attention away. The moment you see past him, you look past the Mountain Breaker and you break the backline instead, things go your way. See how many of these replays are just Tempo dying from River's Rebuke? But it's this fight right here. River's Rebuke forces out Airstrike and catches out the Apollo. And they decide to go back in a moment of misdecision that might very well have been what began the downfall of Clocked In, who are now clocked out of the bracket and have to watch from the sidelines as Kibbeted Book take the position they thought was theirs. Overall, beautiful work. Kibbeted Book absolutely deserved to be in this final slot. The question is, can they do it again?
I mean, last time we had Orange Kiss and Kibbeted Book, it was Donut Doug going absolutely crazy with the Uller. Are we going to get a chance to see like a repeat of that? I wonder if Orange Kiss have a different strategy going up against them this time. But if you're watching this game, I'm thinking to myself, man, Snatty on Mordred, we can't let that happen, right? Like, we talk about how Snatty did so much for this Kibbeted Book team, dominated in their solo lane, and was able to stand up to Paul when they got lamped in there. I mean, this Mordred was doing so much legwork. Briz was also untouched the whole game, never died even once, right?
That's true.
Kind of like a silent defender for Kibbeted Book, as they just throw out their damage, they do their job, and they back off when things get too hasty.
It was an understated role that the Merlin took, but one certainly appreciated, and I'm sure they'll continue to perform their best in this next match. I really want to talk more about Snatty, like you mentioned, kind of the life preserver for the team. When they were only able to drown out Tempo, Snatty was the one that kept them above water by bullying Karmic, making sure that Thor couldn't leverage that global ultimate to actually bring that pain. That's why Briz never had to die, because they never had to look to the sky for an Anvil of Dawn.
Yeah, no, I feel like the Thor never had a chance to do the Thor things we were looking for. I mean, I mentioned a 3-stage dive being a possibility for this clocked-in team, and it just never happened, right? And a large part of that was, like you said, Karmic didn't really get to play the game, right? This Thor never had a chance to show up in a meaningful way, not like Snatty did. Not like Snatty was able to harass the members of Clocked In. It was kind of intense.
Very intense across the board for all the games we've seen so far, and it's only going to continue to mount as the pressure gets even higher in this finals series. Kibited Book step up to Orange Kiss, and you might look at the seedings, you say 4th seed against 2nd seed, Orange Kiss wipe this. They just took down the 1st seed, sucker, and they've done this against Orange Kiss as well. What point do upsets stop becoming upsets when it's a pattern and they just become the real front runners?
I think the implications here are massive. If Kibited Book win this, they could potentially be a favorite for
they're the team
next
to beat.
week. I think they're already one of the favorites for next week. I mean, number 4
Absolutely.
seed, yeah, duh. But the way that they've been continuously getting better, kind of punching above what you would traditionally think would be their weight and constantly going for more, this Kibited Book team is on the rise right now. So if you're Orange Kiss, you're trying to stop that. You're punching straight down. You are making sure that they don't get to rise anymore, right? Cut them off at the knees so that you don't have to deal with the stress. There's a lot riding on this game, more than just the points to get in, more than just what it means for the closed bracket. I mean, there's potential here for Smite 2 going forward of the Smite 2 Founder Series, not only losing to teams like Clocked In, but also losing to teams that are just kind of starting out and forming together.
And that's what's fantastic about things. We hop into P's and B's here. We get to see new talent form its way through the undergrowth. They get to rise up, stretch out. There's plenty of sun for everyone. And you can tell that Kibited Book really want to start shining. P's and B's are underway, Musey. What do you want to see picked off? Because both of these teams should have done their homework. They know their opponent by now.
So Orange Kiss is going to ban Uller. They're either going to ban Uller or they're going to pick Uller. Because last time Orange Kiss went against Kibited Book, Donut Doug got Uller, and it was a massacre for Orange Kiss. They were not able to stand up. Somebody's got to take away Aladdin from Scream. That just has to be the case, right? Not only do we see Paul go crazy with Aladdin, we saw Scream go crazy with Aladdin, so neither of these players should really be allowed to touch that too much. I'm also looking maybe at Pele being taken off the board, not only because of Final K, but because of Paul as well. And then, of course, that Guan Yu ban is specifically targeted at Bobby, who's very proficient with that character. I would maybe even go as far as to say is try to start thinking of counter picks. I would imagine Orange Kiss is going to fall back to the Baron Samdi support that Bobby really enjoys. And Final K is kind of like a loose cannon for me. Final K can kind of play whatever, right? Between the solo lanes, between Snatty and Final K, I think it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top. If Snatty's able to run back with the Mordred, or if Final K is able to take that for themselves, I think that'll be an interesting contention there. When it comes to in the dual lane ADCs, Princess Bari still has to get banned away. You're giving that up to Cycle and Spin. There are so many factors, D'Lo. There's so many things to think about. And honestly, it's just going to be about what first pick is going to be available and what do we want to start building our team around.
Well, so far what's not available any longer is that Merlin taken away from Briz. They saw that they were deathless on that, and they say, we want you to taste a bit of the afterlife. Uller banned away as well alongside Pele. Thor leaves Aladdin open. Are Kibited Book trying to bait them into it? They'll take it either way. They take a healthy bite of the hook. And Orange Kiss have got Scream back on the Wishmaker.
What's open here? Ares, a Wheelix, Neath, some solid picks available. You also have things like, Princess Bari, Hunbots, still up and available for anybody who wants it. I don't blame Kibited Book for not insta-locking here. There's a lot of broken characters available you want to have for your team. Neath is still up? Kali's still up?
We haven't gotten to see that. Oh, God.
Like, what?
Oh, crap, man.
Yeah,
oh, no! It just gets worse!
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
All right, Orange Kiss, your move. What do you want? There's Anubis. Anubis. That is 100% for Benny Q. Yes. So, a lot of comfort for Orange Kiss at this point so far. But what else, you know?
Here's the issue. Well, I will say we at least have a bit of a relief in that we know where this Kali's going. Normally couldn't flex in a jungle, but with Bari being alongside it, you know that's going to be a Kali jungle. I'd say that the Aladdin, in a sense, has a boon that they can try to remove Kali from a fight. And both of these gods have a bit of a reset. Kali's indestructible. Aladdin get a lot of health back if they hit the lamp. Kali's not CC immune during that, so not too shabby. Kukulkan and Ares, though, the caveman combo. Big fat no escape into big fat Spirit of the Nine Winds. Love it.
I've been saying that Cuckoo is like sleep broken.
You do always say this. It's true.
I love talking about how I think Cuckoo is a sleeper pick. For a long time, I've been saying Cuckoo is a sleeper pick. So to see Benny Q pick it up, I'm so ready to feel so vindicated for loving Cuckoo so hard. But like you said, Caveman Combo, you got a lot of, you have setup from your Ares, but also that chains now. This Aladdin doesn't have to worry about it. Like you said before, when you cripple an Aladdin, you lose out on like 2 abilities, right? Now this cripple is going to be headed towards things like a Kali, a Bari, Ganesh, Mercury. These are all people that need their movement, right? So when you have that cripple on there, that's going to be really solid. Think too, who here has CC immune abilities? Or CC immune ultimates? Mercury.
Yeah, and you got to charge that baby up.
Sucked. Exactly.
Huh.
Nuwa.
That's going to be carry if it is locked in. That's got to be, right? Aspect Nuwa with the crazy ultimate damage. That is a lot of magical damage. You'd be really relying on some physical to be carrying that side of the damage spectrum. So instead, they decide to put it on the monkey god's shoulders and continue the animal parade as well. On her, locked in to complete the comp.
So Wukong and on her. So Wukong's going to be headed over to that solo lane. That's definitely going for fine okay.
Yes.
I worry here that fine okay is going to be that full damage Wukong. Knowing fine okay, actually, I feel like we're going to have more of a bruisery style. I want the Sun Wukong to be able to be up there in the front line, to be able to survive up there. You have a Cuckoo and an Aladdin. You have damage. The damage is there in spades. We need more setup to go with your Ares. We need somebody who can try to pull bees to be a little bit threatening. Can a full tank Sun Wukong do that? No. Can a Sun Wukong with like 4 damage items and a spirit robe and a health item do that? Yes, right? You just need to be able to poke out, walk up there for a little bit, buy enough time so that your no escape is going to have more confirmed pulls. And then that Kabrakan, the last slot there for Kibited Book, that's probably headed to Snatty. This Ganesh more than likely heads to Kuradal. It's another big health bar for Kibited Book to just throw at somebody, right? Deal with my Kabrakan. Fight him, right? Does he die? Eventually, after you pour a whole bunch into him, he gets locked down pretty easily, but he also, in turn, can lock somebody down. This Cuckoo does not play well into that Kabrakan ultimate, right? Shell is going to be needed. A Helm of Darkness or something like that is going to be needed. Both of these teams look very strong.
Well, we got to find out who ends up being strong as we hop into finals. Will Orange give him the kiss of death, or do they get red like a Kibited Book? We're going to hop in here. DLO Musi behind the mic. Morton Man Almighty Eye in the sky. Jithins and basically Billy. Your men behind the curtain. And 5 players on each side. Musi, I was actually going to wonder if the Sun Wukong would go into that aspect for the knockup, but they're opting instead to stick to the traditional. What I worry about when I see Kibited Book's comp is just how in your face they get. They do not relent once they stick to you.
No, between Snatty and Valo and Donut Dog, there's a lot of jumping at you. Well, not so much from Donut Dog, right? They have the aspect for Kali. They're going to be a ranged, sustained DPS. So it's Snatty and Valo that are going to be kind of getting aggressive with everybody. And Kuradal as well. Ganesh is going to be a support that kind of wants to start fights. You have the dash, you have the ohm, you have pillars. Very forward tilting team from Kibited Book, but not quite a dive comp. I feel like we don't have enough big swinging ultimates to really do that. It feels like very much like maybe more like a pick comp, where Kuradel or Snatty is going to try to set up with some stuns, and then Valo, Briz, Donut Doug just kind of lay into them, burst out with a bunch of damage. Or potentially a lot of objective shred, now that you look at it, right? Mercury, Kali, You get a little bit of crit online. You get a Sunbeam Bow. That's a dead Gold Fury. They're not long for the world. Same there, too, with Curdle. Always talking about those Dharmic pillars and their ability to be able to shred people down. Or, well, people and objectives is going to be the big thing there. So, Kimmit Book is going to be looking to play that macro play, which they have to against Orange Kiss. Remember, this team is on top of the Gold Fury the moment it spawns, right? You can imagine Scream's going to look for something early in the solo lane. Whether or not he finds it, doesn't matter. He leaves fine okay to their devices and then immediately starts hounding on top of this dual lane so we can start put pressure onto that Gold Fury.
It's going to be a blue buff 1 there, the neutrals in Valo's pocket. So give it a book, get a bit more gold in their side. Just really curious to see where we go once we hit level 5 on each of these characters. Both Aladdin and Mercury want to scale so badly. So who are you going to bully to try to get that scaling up on?
Again, dueling. Dueling has got to be the big focus here because both of these teams are going to be reliant on taking a look at that Gold Fury, right? If you can put down Cyclone Spin, if you can put down Donut Doug, all the better, especially this Kali, who's also trying to get to that hyperscaling. Not only are you a Kali, but you're an ADC. Your entire power curve is reliant on the items that you're building. So gold is incredibly important to you. Try to stop that. Try to stymie that. Try to slow that down. And then keep in mind, too, that Kuradel doesn't have any beads. So if there's anybody that you can lamp fairly easily and consistently, you might be able to take away this elephant or pin them against the wall.
Great disperse into the impale. Could be trouble, though, for Cyclone. They're wiped away, but the Lion does earn that first blood. Overall, again, you trade your support for the carry. You're not too upset about that if you're Kibited Book, even if you lost the first.
The only trouble there, like you said, Cyclone Spin gets the first blood, so they'll have a little bit more gold in their pocket, but Donut Doug will have more time to farm as Cyclone Spin has to take that quick TP back into the lane. But between On Her and Ares, there's a lot of kill potential that Kuradel and Donut Doug need to stay aware of between the chains, the jump, the pillar, the pin, and in inbound hits level 5, now you're dealing with no escape. That Ganesh gets pulled pretty frequently. Not a whole lot that you can do into that ultimate, so Cyclone Spin and Bobby could just choose to bully out the elephant to try to get their gold online and leave Donut Doug to the devices of Scream.
Worth noting here, we didn't really get to talk about the fact that because Donut Doug is operating on this Kali, it means Briz is in this mid lane as the Bari. They say, you take away my Merlin, who was deathless before, there's other ways to remain deathless, and that ultimate is certainly one of the best in the game. So even if the Aladdin tries to pay some attention, we did see a gank attempt prior, it's going to be a lot harder with that field keeping everyone up on their 10 toes.
And Benny Q isn't going to be the one that's necessarily looking for ganks on top of this Bari either, because all Benny is doing is clearing. Like, we are ulting waves. What a Chad, by the way. Oh my lord. Like, Benny Q just wants to farm, get to late game. He's also a scaler. Scream is looking to harass people in their jungle. Bobby's up here too. It's time to invade the purple buff.
No level 5 differences is safe for Cyclone Spin. That first blood is starting to pay its dividends already. Mercury makes the rotation. Bari's going to arrive quickly as well. Kukulkan will not be present for it. Beads forced off of the Mercury, but a dash on forward. The body blocks too. The lamp grants a bit more health, but the damage is still going to come on down. Valo tries to speedily rush their way around the outer circle, but Scream won't let you. It's a kill for the Aladdin, and the fight keeps on continuing. On Her still present in the back line. Briz does taste death for the first time in a while. Double kill for the Aladdin.
Just like I said, dual lane is going to be where Scream wants to be. That purple buff comes up. Orange Kiss says, let's fight over it. We have crazy, crazy pressure. And even better priority. We can just burn through these buffs. They can't step up to us. And then because of that, your Aladdin hits level 5. The lamp comes out. The Mercury is dead. Now that you have this advantage, you know what you do with it? You do it again. And you do it again. And you're going to start arguing over gold for you. You're going to start asking these big questions. Inbound's going to ult you. What do? Do you have beads? Yes, no. Right? Are you ready to deal with my jungler? Yes, no. The answer is no to any of these. I'm killing you and I'm taking that gold fury. Good luck. I'm taking your shoes too. Like, it's not a question. It's a demand. I'm going to kill you. Like...
Merc's got some nice sneaks, man. That guy runs fast for a reason. And not having that level 5 music, it's that level 5 difference they're always talking about.
Level 5 difference.
I think they might have gotten one of the smalls off the purple. That's what granted Aladdin that lamp, which you put him inside of. They still get the beads off Valo as well, so you got to play these next 60 seconds a bit more carefully. Gold Fury is now up and available. Any kill that drops on the duo side might just spell that objective for your team.
And it's super interesting too, because duo lane is where all the action is going to be happening. Nothing is happening in solo lane. Not even a singular thing. Neither of the Kabrakan and So Wukong, they're not killing each other. Not in a million years. Not unless somebody really screws up. And Snatty and FineOK are not going to screw up, right? Meanwhile, in mid lane, Benny Q, there's a chance, but it's unlikely. He's just going to clear wave. Inbound, Bobby putting some pressure on top of this Ganesh. Is this another fight on our hands?
Decent damage already. The knock-up right inside the pillars. All you did is just give Aladdin another arena to play inside of. Pulled in every single time. Inbound ensures there's no escape for Kurt at all. We're going ivory hunting, and Kali's got to retreat.
The lamp there was very ambitious from Scream, but if there was anybody who could have hit at it, would have been him. And remember now, Gold Fury is up, spawned, what, 30 seconds ago? Orange Kiss makes the rotation to dual lane? Who would have freaking guessed, dude?
Sonic Boom potentially on the mark. Going to find that stun on two, but forces out the beads from Aladdin. Body blocked by their own honor, so they couldn't quite catch up as easily. Bari is present to try to provide a bit of peel. Has an immortality as well, but it's going to be a wish instead. I wish for Valo to die. It's been granted. Bari ultimate will go down, and Ganesh instantly turns tail, remembering what Inbound did to them prior. The Wind Sprite to catch back on up, and the Gold Fury going to go down the way of Orange Kiss. A kill as well.
The vault from Valo was just a little bit off the mark. Purple buff is up, which means Scream's going to be over here, but the health bars are looking pretty low.
Gotta take over the wall. Scream does not want to participate in the fight any longer. These early levels, Aladdin can be awfully mana hungry. You see them nursing a very low bar of blue, and not too looking good for the green either. Now 7 minutes in, thanks to that Fury, it's 5-1 in favor of Orange Kiss, and 2,000 gold ahead. Benny Q gonna even further leverage those numbers, makes a rotation over to that solo side, and Snatty goes down.
What is Benny Q doing in the solo lane? Who invited this guy? I don't know why he's there, but you know what? You get the kill. You're happy to be there. Appreciate it. I imagine FineOK and Cobbs is like, hello? Why do I have a cuckoo here? Thanks, bro. Ult? No pull. Beads pulled, actually. Well, Cyclone's going to get that kill. Now, I was talking before about how FineOK and Snatty, it's not a dead lane, but nothing's going on there, but outside interference will be the thing that changes it, because Snatty has this bladed boomerang. There's no prots attached to that. It means that Benny Q gets a lot of damage off with all the magical damage that they have. I see the Devos hover here for FineOK. I like this, actually, quite a bit. Because what were you building in Smite 1 for Sun Wukong, right? Soul Eater. You had your Soul Eater. You got a little bit of lifesteal. We're in the lamp, by the way.
Oh, no! Poor Briz, trapped inside the lamp, a 2v1 handicap match, not one you stand to win. Trapped inside the harsh blowing tornado. Benny Q will be able to get the kill. Rotation coming as well from the Kali as they make their way up. Valo arrives only to die instantly, thanks to a handy rotation from Inbound as well. Kali TP's up just to watch in horror as the Mercury gets exploded. Take his sneakers again once more. Says, I could use those. Kukulkan, you don't even have any feet. Actually, on this skin he does. Never mind. Benny Q can use those.
He's got a little toesies. Look at him. Benny Q, turn around for a second. Yeah, there we go. You see him.
Thanks, bud.
They are too small, though. Those shoes will not fit.
But nonetheless, they're at the very least rising into the shoes of that prior matchup we saw before. Orange Kiss had awfully large ones to fill when it came to taking down Kiveted Book off the back of this grudge match. Seems they've learned from their mistakes. 8-1, and looking to add to the numbers. The chain's a bit off the mark. Donut Doug's able to escape.
Cyclone Spin still looking for a little bit something that's going to be that tier 1 tower. Donut Doug doesn't have a lot of time before that tower's out. Cyclone Spin's going to back up, though. So at this stage, Orticus has a crazy lead, and they're going to be putting more pressure into this dual lane again because Gold Fury is going to be respawning soon. So Kiveted Book have the opportunity for a preemptive strike. Maybe if you can find Bobby or Cyclone Spin, you want to try to stifle it, or Benny Q can gank solo lane again, like a psychopath.
Why not? Yeah, it's insane. Just getting more sneakers, buddy. I'm trying to make a collection here. I got a whole shelf. Give me your J's. He goes down once more. And once again, Final Key is like, fine, okay.
Sure. Well, what is Benny Q going to be doing in mid lane? He clears wave and then he walks away. He clears wave in mid and then ganks solo lane twice. So now your Wukong is like pretty up at this point. He's not feeling too bad. You trust your dual lane to be fine where they are, and Scream will rotate if they need to. Val is going to be the first one to get that dual lane first. This could be trouble for Orange Kiss.
has ultimate, good pathing, will at the very least ensure the Onher's gonna be safe, alongside CC immunity and the beads from the Onher. Keeps everyone safe. Now inbound, steps up knowing that Scream is on the way, and that means that you're about to pay. Gets the good knockup, but that means no dash left for Ganesh. Inside the pillars, the sands of time will rush you down. Donut Dog makes an aggressive leap back in. The last thing they're gonna do, Scream will have their head.
Hey, guess what's up, D'Lo? You get 3 guesses. Guess what's up on the map right now?
This team, Orange Kiss is up in the Gold Fury as well. Might be our friend
the
Valo
one.
going down. Their path is blocked by the rushing winds. The Zephyr barely not able to kill, but Benny Q is just everywhere all at once.
Yeah, I mean, this Cuckoo is doing way more than you thought they would. Gold Fury, of course, goes
Sleeper
the way
pick.
of Orange Kiss. That's what they do. Sleeper pick Cuckoo. Oh, I feel so freaking vindicated right now, bro. Well, because, like, all Benny Q does is toss a tornado in the mid lane and then leaves and then goes and kills somebody, which is so funny because you would imagine this Cuckoo would be pretty easy to take down, pretty easy to lock down, right? You have a Cabrakan, you have a Mercury. You should be able to stop this Noodle from being too slippery. But Benny Q, his positioning as a player has always been A1. It feels like he doesn't give anybody the chance to walk up to him too much.
And even if you were to, you could drop a tornado at your feet, and all of a sudden Mercury, Kali, well, Kali a bit less so, given that she's in the carry form, but still wants to try to get up in your face. And Snatty, they take a lot of damage, especially with how ahead Benny Q is, to even try to get across your kit. 12 minutes in, 10-1. It's a far different committed book than we saw. And again, Musi, it's not just about the points anymore. It's about what legacy you're leaving here in the Smite Prime bracket. Are you a front runner, or are you just lucky to be here?
Right? And I will say this, even if Kibbeted Book don't win this, they are definitely not just a team that's lucky to be here. They are competing. They have earned this spot. Snatty is going to go down here, and Bobby's causing trouble.
Got the no escape off, baits significant resources, 2 pairs of beads off Committed Book already. Slow immunity means we're just going to walk right past those pillars. Thank you very much. Benny Q grabs the kill on top of Kuradal. Cyclone Spin gets the solo dolo on Donut Dog. It's coming up all orange all day.
It feels like Orange Kiss is kind of activated right now. They are playing outside of their minds at this point, and it's very hard to stop this team once they start feeling really good like this. They're not a vibes team by any means, but they are a team that once they get that snowball rolling, it is very difficult to slow them down. They will get bolder, they will get more aggressive. Kibbeted Book, at this point, you're just trying to control your own farm. You need to pick your fights a little bit better. You need to stay aware of what's happening on the map. Briz is going to go down. Benny Q is just up there fighting everybody as a Kukulkan.
He's 5 levels up on the jungle.
Yeah. You know, Ultim Valo? Yeah?
What are you going to do? Look at that. Right there, baby. Hope you brought a raincoat. Should have gotten 5 shirts like Bobby.
Yeah. Where's the 5 shirt strap from Bobby this time round, too, right? I'm very disappointed in you, Inbound.
Ooh, this could be trouble, though. Good beats from Benny Q. 5 level difference. This Cuckoo's a tank. You're going Cuckoo for the Cuckoo because Benny Q just tanks all the damage and spits it right back up. Good tectonic shift does force the areas in a bit of a tight bind, but if you fully commit, Benny Q is going to force a lot of damage back on top. Inbound's got to find a way back out. No escape. Stays alive long enough to get the pull back in. Benny Q's unstoppable, and Valo is dead. Double kill on top of Snatty once more. This Noodle is dangerous.
I cannot believe this. Actually, I can't believe it. Cuckoo's
8-0, baby!
This whole time. 8-0. And you know what? It kind of happened underneath our noses because we were watching Valo court death. But Orange Kiss got a Pyromancer during that, before that fight. So they're still playing their macro game. They're still looking for aggressive fights. They're still looking for picks. It feels very difficult to slow them down. Kibbeted and Book are waiting for that 25-minute mark before they can do anything, or they're waiting for Orange Kiss to really screw up. I mean, yes, Benny Q has 8 kills, 0 deaths. That does put a target on their back. Benny Q, it is now more and more important that they don't die because they're going to give up a lot of gold to anybody who gets the last hit. Briz!
Oh no, Briz just turns around and accepts their fate. That lamp's going to meet the middle, so no one will get quite inside the Thunderdome just yet. That's A-OK. Spirit of the Nine wins right through the wall. We're just launching out skill shots. A volley, a salvo. Not going to find the mark, but nonetheless, these autos can still get the job done. Zephyr going to go a bit wide, thanks to a solid dash coming from Kuradal. Mid-tier 2. 15 minutes in, we're looking at Phoenixes. Where the hell are we?
we are in Smite Prime Week 3 Finals. We
Thank
are
you.
in Benny Q's game right now. That's where we are. That's literally where we are. This Cuckoo has been going bananas. Cuckoo for crazy puffs. Now we're looking at a Gold Fury again. Cuckoo banana. Crazy. I don't know enough synonyms. I won't lie to you.
Nah, that's okay, man. Gold Fury, though, definitely going to go down. That's already a pretty crazy prospect considering the fact that we're, 10K ahead? Yeah, let's just sprinkle a bit more on there, a bit more cheddar.
Yeah,
Why not? Really need to get more shoes for my friend the Cuckoo.
How many? He's only got, well, he has small feet. He can, layer the shoes on. A Fire
Whoa.
Giant pull. Ambitious.
Desert's Fury going to immune all the stuns, and that thing's going down slow. You don't have the level lead. Beads all
Okay,
of that
Cyclone.
knockup. The reversal of fortune, only a few
Okay,
more autos is
Cyclone.
what I need. Cyclone will go down in trade, but Snatty's out of position, being pulled back into the Raging Winds.
Oh.
Inbound takes the kill. FG unleashed, but Orange Kiss will thank you for it. Mercury's still present on the right side if they want to try to make a daring play, but considering the level gap, I think you're just going to be happy to grab that totem.
Ambitious, audacious, no, desperate. Kibita Book was grasping at straws. Valo, level 11, the hero of the story. You're gonna get away? He's got, okay, yeah, pan off of that.
That is not looking good. Donut Dog on the
Hey,
right
Donut
side.
Dog.
Meanwhile, see what
crazy.
Donut Dog's up to. While Valo's just
Oh.
getting murdered behind the barn. Ah! You hear that in the background.
Look
Tier
at the
2
rabbits,
will
Lenny.
fall. FG will go. Wait, hold on a second. Did Valo steal? Did Valo steal it?
Oh, got it?
What?
When? How?
How?
Valo?
The hero of the story, Valo!
He was the
breathing
hero.
new
He's the
life
martyr.
into Orange Kiss. It seems that maybe we weren't giving enough credit to our plucky underdogs. Kibita Book still have a reason to be here. This cannot be where the journey ends. FG on top of the Bari and Donut Dog, the two big damage dealers. Naga and Pyromancer will go down in trade, but nonetheless, Kibita Book can breathe a big sigh of relief.
I mean, that FG is going to give you a lot of gold, especially considering the deficit that you're at. Snatty gets picked off by Fine OK there with the help of the rest of the team. But, I mean, okay. You stop Orange Kiss from getting FG. The craziest FG steal of all time. Which always seems to happen over here in Prime. We had something crazy like that last week, too. Valo's kind of nuts with it. But you're still super far behind. You're still incredibly down in gold and levels and experience. How long can you hold on?
The FGs maybe giving them a bit too much zeal for more fighting, as now they're going to be trapped inside the lamp. Inside the tornado, the elephant cannot weather the storm. Benny Q gets that kill. Now 10-0, lined up for the Sonic Boom. That's a lot of damage. Benny Q
shut
takes
down.
death for the first time, courtesy of Briz. Donut Dog takes down
this it?
inbound. They're empowered.
Oh.
They're emboldened. Valo's flattened beneath that staff slam, but nonetheless, not too shabby a fight. 2 for 2, and Scream and Sun Wukong have got to run for the headlines.
Dude, I wish I could know how much gold Briz just got for that kill, because that has to be at least like a full item's worth of gold. Maybe not a full items, but at least a tier 2 just off that kill. Kibita Book, being able to kill Benny Q there, being able to kill inbound, less important, but still important, right? Bleeding away at Orange Kiss. There is a chance. There is a very real chance, a very real opportunity. Now, your Bari, instead of being like level 14, they're level 17. What a jump, by the way. Oh my lord. And then you just need to get your Mercury up. Your Kali has been power farming this whole game. Level 18, Donut Dog. Still keeping it on. So you can fight these team fights. The possibility is there. You just gotta hold on for a bit longer. It's only 19 minutes. We're looking at minute 25. We're looking at level 20. We're looking at trying to get more items online. Just don't lose. Just don't lose. Hold on for even longer.
Big teleport
Well,
there. Could be trouble for the Kabrakan. They find themselves stuck between a rock and a pillar. Gonna be the impale up against the wall. Not really much of a chance you get out of this one. Cyclone Spin with a flourish of spears finishes the job. At the very least, no ultimate to worry about, but you don't have your cab on your side. And this is classic Kibita Book. If you look at the last game, right? It's those two couple of fights that really spelled their win but can Kuradal get out of this fight? Not something they're likely to do. Trapped inside the tornado, it's a lot of damage being placed on top of them, but they have that bar to keep them alive. Briz shuts down Scream instead.
Kuradal's alive.
Every one of these 5 kills is so carefully curated. Even if they don't have as many, they're
Val.
on the right targets. Now Benny Q's in trouble. Use those shoes. You have him for a reason. Briz shuts him down. Benny Q takes down Valo from the grave, and Briz hip-hops back to safety.
Dude, that one kill onto Benny Q gives Briz the gold that they need to have items. Final K soloed by Donut Dug over into solo lane. Kibit Book, we held on. People can die.
What?
Orange Kiss rolling over Kibit Book this whole game. No shame in admitting it, right? It was brutal to watch, but Kibit and Book are able to hold on just long enough to get their items online to have a fighting chance. Toppling over Benny Q enables Briz to catch up in damage, to catch out anybody who stands in front of them. Scream can't jump on top of this Bari now because he will get deleted. Now Kibit and Book get to take a look at bigger objectives. This Ancient Gold Fury, Dharmic Pillars, the Objective Shred team, it's here!
I mean, a couple shackles just to buff up your stats inbound. Feel good about those numbers, but that's a fantastic pull there for Kibit and Book, their first Fury of the game. 21 minutes, how things have changed. 3K gold lead now, reduced from 11 so shortly ago. Whoa, up the tectonic rift, why don't we? Scream's path was blocked, and now the stuns can come through. Forces the beads off. Nat Bell nearly results in their end, but Scream's able to get back out. Sonic Boom, you're not going anywhere. Special delivery right back to the afterlife.
Immortality to get back into the game. Inbound now trying to see if they can take down the Princess Bari, but the damage is so much.
Oh no, Briz does go down to shutdown delivered from the God of War. We're going for the Tusky Man next. Doesn't have the chains quite just yet, but that dash doesn't get you far enough. Trapped in the midst of a whirlwind of rage and steel. Inbound finds the double kill on Kuradal.
I mean, Kibit and Book is still putting up quite a bit of a fight here, threatening health bars, threatening lives. The wish for immortality was used from Scream. And that's a big wish to take away. Pyromancer's getting looked at by Orange Kiss, but Kibit and Book isn't here to take it away. The attentions turn over to the FG, but with Snatty, Valo, and Donut Dug alive, Valo, you do it again?
I need a hero. We're going up for a hero. They've got to be strong. They've got to be fast. Inbound, fresh from the fight, goes in the back, Scream, finds the lamp on top of the collie, not indestructible this time around. They got assistance. The Monkey God sweeps him aside with their staff. Donut Dug's already dead. The rest of the fight's already dissipated. Valo in the back line, not sure when they can find their time to enter. It's going to be never at this rate. The bees expended a bit too early. Sonic Boom still leashed by the Ares. Cyclone with one last show of their Desert's Fury finishes off the jungle.
You got the mushroom to sustain. That means that Orange Kiss still want to take a look at this FG, but Kibit and Book have Snatty, Briz, and Kuradal this time around to try to stand up to it. They're going to walk up and see what they can find.
Different cast, but the same end goal. Steal away this FG from those wily challengers. Spare the 9 wins, goes a bit wide, but the pin on the mark. Gets that impale stun off. Trapped inside the pillars. The Bari ult on top. No escape, and not going to find the stun. Briz gets the kill instead. So Wukong trying to finish off the Bari in the backline. Ferry her soul to the afterlife. Scream is instead responsible. Trapped inside the sands. No slow, no problem. Cyclone spin finishes him off for the killing spree. Back to work on this FG, and now only Kuradal stands to oppose.
Donut Dug respawn, Valo respawn as well. FG down to 5K. Kuradal cannot step up to it. Does look like Orange Kiss will be able to take it. I mean, Kuradal, that was a good attempt. Cyclone jump cannot catch him. The Ganesh is out of dodge, but Orange Kiss still have this Fire Giant. Inbound is the only one that won't have it at this point. But Kibit and Book.
No Donut Dog! No, Donut Dog! Wait a second, the damage might be a bit more than you can expect. The knockup got missed. Weep over the wall, but the blades go wide. Desert's Fury once again. Fine, okay. Finds the kill. Donut Dog goes down.
This game is insane. Kibit and Book.
Holy crap.
I mean, they were getting rolled, but now they're like a bunch of guerrilla fighters. A lot of renegades over here standing up to the authoritarian power that is Orange Kiss's hold on this game. Striking wherever they can. And they've made it thus far. I mean, Briz and Dog are level 20. They've got enough items online to shred and threaten anybody who tries to walk up to them. They're down about 8K gold still. At one point, it was only 4K. But at this point, Kibit and Book, they just have to find a few picks. They have to find a way to play around this forced isolation from the Aladdin too, though. Like, that ult does so much. It doesn't matter who Scream pulls in. It feels like Kibita Book needs every man in order to stand up to Kiss.
You see a Scream, looking not for the man, but for the elephant instead. Applies a bit of extra damage with that Kufik invocation. Left side, we do see Orange Kiss using their objective shred to their proper extent, grabbing that Ancient Fury and weakening all 3 of those Phoenixes for the sieges to come. But does there end up being a fight in this mid lane? Kufik invocation through the wall forces a bit of poke and forces Kibited Book back on the defensive end. What does this composition look like from a siege perspective?
Orange Kiss, it's still a lot of the same plan. They clear waves very quickly and efficiently. They still want to try to dive in and see what they can find. And early Dharmic Pillars there. Doesn't look like it'll actually be able to do too much. That's one less tool for Kibited Book. That means Orange Kiss is going to go on this Phoenix.
Ancient Fury weakening them as well. Those flames just don't burn the same, which means the bird gets taken off the map instead. Pulled back in is going to be that Cabraki, but a Boreal buys him a bit more time. Spirit of the Nine wins, only finds one. Valo's the first one to fall. The Lamp going to go in looking for Kali, but Scream has a bit of buyer's remorse. That's okay. Honor's here, and the Disperse is well placed as they give chase. Briz will fall as well. Orange Kiss looking to correct history. That first time was a fluke. We're the real ones to beat as they look to take down the Titan as well. It's going to be a talisman, but it's not going to be enough. Kuradal will fall as well. It's a deicide. It's a rampage. It's an Orange Kiss victory for week 3.
I mean, Kibited Book put up a ridiculous fight, especially at the end. It was
so
exciting, it was dramatic, it was entertaining, but ultimately Orange Kiss follow through on the plan that they set from day one in this game. They control the objectives, they control the fights, and Benny Q just went actually nuts.
Oh, man, that was gosh darn near such a freaking awesome comeback. Would have been an amazing story for the history books. Could have sat someone down on your knee, told him, let me tell you, when Valo became a legend. No, he still was absolutely playing out of his mind. That steal, that damn steal, not going to be enough. Still, respect for a Kibited Book and a hearty congratulations to Orange Kiss. We got the highlights coming on for you in just a second, so still, don't you dare go anywhere. More Smite Prime talking after the break. Hello everyone, and welcome on back to Smite Prime. We just got to see the end result with a bunch of fire and fury. Orange Kiss were able to right past wrongs and take the last game over. Kibited Book, Dilo, and Musi were here to watch the action. Mort, Almighty Eye in the Sky, Jithins, and basically Billy, your men behind the curtain. Musi, as we reflect back on the good old days when we got to see that amazing game, what are your thoughts on what we just saw?
It was insane. I mean, we saw this Kukulkan pick go absolutely nuts, put on a lot of damage, and Kibited Book just never really had a chance to get off the ground. It wasn't until later in the game where they get a shutdown on top of Benny that things looked like it could go well for Kibited Book. I mean, Scream was making these crazy rotations. I think something that really spoke to how comfortable Orange Kiss was the fact that Benny Q would just go over and gank solo lane twice, killed Snatty, MBD, right? And again, still that classic Orange Kiss style of staying on top of Gold Fury the moment it spawns, paying a lot of attention to the macro plays. Like, they looked super strong at every stage of the game.
I gotta say, Musi, I think everyone needs to listen to you a bit more when it comes to this Cuckoo pick, because holy crap, it was, what, 9-0 before I think this was its first death that we got to see. Just disgusting. Disgusting work from the Wind Serpent. 10-0, my bad. Thanks for correcting that one, Benny Q. 10-0 before finally experiencing death for the first time, but you could argue that even if those couple kills came through, it just wasn't enough to stop. The 9 Spirit of Winds were behind your sails, and they just never looked back.
And the way that Scream was able to land these ultimates, isolating people out, Donut, be it Donut Dog, or Snatty, or Colonel, anybody. It felt like anybody who got trapped in that lamp, it was a death sentence for the rest of Kibited Book because they were just missing so much. It felt like they needed every player to perform, whereas Orange Kiss was just running at them with either Scream or Benny Q, and Final K and Inbound would just be like, yeah, we'll set up for them, no big deal.
Oh man, 9-2 here for Scream. It's not like we haven't gotten to see the Aladdin get banned away before, but just the issue with this meta at the moment, it's just the fact that there's so many threats, Musi. There's so many things that you have to worry about. And there's only 6 bans. Like, what are we supposed to do? No matter what, it feels like you let them get a nuclear armament on their side.
Yeah, there are so many characters that you have to try to think about and consider. And when I think about what, if anything, am I going to ban against Orange Kiss, it's got to be Aladdin. You cannot let Scream have that character. Or you have to have something like an Awelix in the back pocket to see if you can have an answer to all the wall jumping and everything like that. But overall, I feel like both teams got pretty solid team comps. It's just Orange Kiss had it down pat.
Orange Kiss can kick their feet up on the coffee table, lay back, relax, look at their handiwork, and we can take a look at their work across the bracket as well. Get to see the entire landscape in all of its Orange Kiss glory. In the third place match, you do see Baile Inolvidable were able to take out and clocked in, so the first seed seems like being a bit knocked off its throne. Even if we didn't get to see quite the upset we expected in the finals match, there's still quite a bit of a shakeup going on across the entire bracket spectrum.
I mean, it was super fun to see how today progressed. Was kind of expecting the Yummers team to get a little bit farther than they did, but they ran into tough competition right out the gates. But between here, we see Orange Kiss and Spy 2 Bad Boys. Again, another game where Scream got to play Aladdin, and we kind of learned why we can't do that. I mean, Moswell definitely put out a lot of damage with the shock and put up a big front, but at the end of the day, Orange Kiss felt very activated today. They were playing super well. It was super clean, very consistent from everybody. It is kind of what you expect when you think about this Orange Kiss team.
And it's all about this pressure that we've seen so many times allotted to that dual lane. If you see these first Gold Fury fights go your way, it's usually a fantastic indication of how the rest of the game is going to go. See here, I imagine a lot of the highlights you're going to be finding during the early opening minutes of any game are going to be on that left side. Yeah, Benny Q is paying some visits to the solo lane. Don't ignore that. That doesn't happen. That's Benny Q, all right? That's not what you should be doing in your games. No. The dual lane is what we saw a lot of that pressure being allotted to, and it's why we saw a lot of the options you could go with being banned or picked up first. But man, there's just so many crazy moments. Paul making a mad dash for Briz. I want you. Just so many crazy moments that make Smite Prime so fun to watch.
The games are always so electric. Every week I walk away and I go, man, that was the craziest week of Smite Prime so far. Then I come back next week and I go, man, that was the craziest week of Smite Prime so far. It's like
Deja vu.
Escalating tensions between teams. It's so crazy how the bar gets raised again and again.
How the bar gets raised every single time. But this one game we do get to see lose for once in our frickin' lives. Bari's not going to be rewarded with the Insta-Gimp, but nonetheless is a character you got to watch out for. I imagine next Smite Prime around, though, Musi, we're going to be playing in an awfully different landscape, so I look forward to seeing what these kooky creative teams are able to do when it comes to the new meta, the new items. 5 shirts for Bobby? Who knows?
Oh, yeah. You know, Bobby wearing a million shirts. That's going to be a good one. That's solid.
Yeah, someone edit that.
I mean, I'm excited for the future of Prime. I'm excited for future of Smite 2. I think it'll be really interesting to have our finals match be in that new patch. Like, nobody's going to have the same amount of comfortability that they did leading up to this moment, so everything's going to be laid out on the wire there.
If you're an opponent stepping up to face Orange Kiss in what's now going to be the closed bracket as people begin to really see that prizing, the end of the tunnel is in sight, what's your tip for any opponent that has to face down these scary son of a guns?
The part of Orange Kiss that makes them so powerful is the fact that they control the macro with an Iron Fist. You have to be able to match them at those early Gold Furies and account for the fact that Scream is going to be playing very aggressively over in that dual lane.
Prizing up here right in front of your face holes just so you can see what these teams are fighting so hard for. 7K cash prizing, up to 125,000 in diamonds. Cool skins are being released every single week, so you know those are going to be put to good use. Hopefully get another couple of Aladdin skins for my buddy Scream to drip out on because, man, he deserves it. Get some new threads for you. Get maybe a new shirt even, if you will. But nonetheless, impressive games that we saw here throughout the entire day. Sadly, it all must come to an end at some point, and that is all, in fact, we're going to have for you here today on the Smite Prime stream. Week 3 of the July Open Circuit. Next week, though, next week, baby, do we have a treat for you as we start to really heat things up. Turn up that thermostat just a little bit more. Make sure the AC is on. I've been D-Lo. Joined here by Musey himself, we've had Morton Man, Almighty Eye in the Sky, Jithins, and basically Billy, our men behind the curtain. Please thank our production for all they do. We could not yell at games without them. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed these games just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky for more Smite Prime content coming at ya. Also, make sure to stick around for the next Smite game streamer coming up to bat. Till then, good games and good night.